Wetlands.
Yes.
And we're on.
Awesome. All right. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call this regular meeting of the Inland Wetlands Commission to order on November 23rd at, it's really too small, 7:09 p.m. 24th, November 24th. Thank you, ma'am. At 7:09 p.m. And I would like to begin with introductions. We have no one on the screen, so I will start at my right.
Nicholas Jordan, Commissioner.
Danielle Monroe, Chair.
Terry Rotella, Commissioner.
Dave McCollum in the Wetlands agent.
Amanda Martinez, recording secretary.
Thank you very much. All right. Let's see. Looks like we can start with our review of 13 Pleasant Street. See, we have. Do you have stuff to present to us this evening?
I don't think we have anything more to present. Just here to answer any questions if you had any.
Thank you.
Your names for the record?
That was Jeffrey Bruno.
Thank you. Do we have further questions about 13 Pleasant Street?
I don't.
Okay.
I didn't have anything.
Outstanding.
We can go to a site walk.
Yep.
Has anything changed on the plans or the site plans yet?
So that's a good question, Mr. Jordan. Mr. Mizuko, the applicant's project engineer, is joining us tonight remotely. There was a revised site plan that was submitted as part of this application dated November 8th. And if you would like, I'm sure he would be happy to walk you through whatever revisions he made.
It sounds like a great idea. Would you mind, Mr. Mizuko?
Sure. Good evening. For the record, Mike Mizuko. So we made some minor revisions to the plan, and it was basically in response to comments by staff and the other comments by SLR. And there were really no significant changes to the plan. The house, the driveway, all that stayed the same. We made some modifications with some call outs and some elevations to some of the one catch basin. And we just had a modifying, just makes slightly larger the detention on the drawing. But other than that, we really didn't do too much. I did move the footing drain pipe to the other side away from the existing culvert that outlets. So we moved that to the opposite side just to pull that out away from that, out of the regulated area, if you will. So yeah, other than that, it was a lot of just notes and stuff that were asked for, like the concrete washout pad, a detail of the riprap pad, some seed notes about the conservation seed mix. And I did add a note about the environmentally sensitive medallions if they're to be determined. We're going to repurpose the wood chips. We don't plan to treat the driveway with salt. Driveway is going to be paved. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, again, nothing major.
Okay.
And I've read through the draft resolution. Again, Steve and Jeff can comment. They own the property, but I didn't see anything earth shattering there.
Did you have comments on the?
I didn't. I thought it was pretty basic.
Okay. So we had just, I apologize, thank you. So we had a conversation about the medallions last time. I don't know if those have been a part of any application, but did we, or did we not?
That was just, Madam Chair, that was just staff offering food for thought for the commission.
Yes.
If you want to require that medallions be installed, that's at your discretion. If you don't think they're necessary, that's
Also at our discretion.
right.
Terry, have you been a part of an application where we included those?
No.
So the commission has.
That's actually incorrect. The last application for 0 Worcester Street, we did require one medallion be installed for the industrial.
That's true. All right. That's all right. Would you like some information about what those are?
Yes.
Okay.
So I can actually grab a medallion. It's right across the hall if you don't mind me stepping out.
Do you mind if I just bring her up? Go ahead.
Yeah, the town has, what we call Town of Bethel Environmental Sensitive Area benigns. It's like yay big. If the screen can see me making a representation of it shaped with my fingers.
4 inches.
The commission, in the past has chosen to place those along the limits of disturbance, along the edge of, or the extent of regulated wetlands areas, just to kind of demarcate, the area that this commission, oversees as part of its review when
Okay,
processing.
Okay, you don't have to go get one.
Yeah, okay.
And we sometimes ask the applicants to post it on, we'll usually, if it's possible, ask them to post it on a tree or an existing, so
that's
that
what
we're
we thought.
not creating
Okay.
more disturbance.
Just- okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Nope.
Do you want to put the, sorry, brain glitching out, draft resolution of approval on the crawl for us?
I would be happy to do that, Madam Chair. I do want to be cognizant that you have another public hearing to open, and I would not want to waste that applicant's time reviewing that draft.
Okay.
So what I would encourage is that application gets tabled to later on in the meeting until that public hearing is opened and that discussion takes place. I do have one comment that I would like to raise for the board and to an extent the applicant. One of my comments in my staff report was the applicant needed to submit a survey. And to date, we have not received that. Is there, how soon is that expected to come in? I ask the project engineer or the applicants when that would be.
I have one in my truck, I think, so I can get it to you tomorrow.
Okay, that would be appreciated.
Yeah.
So,
Does it show just the property, or does it show, the proposed structure as well?
I think it shows the proposed structure as well.
Okay.
I think Mr. Mizuko
yeah,
was gonna.
the only thing, Jeff, I don't know, well, this is Mike Mizuko. I don't know if that was the original map that New England did, that the structure is the same. But I would just suggest that there's a condition in there that obviously the survey has to be updated with the current house and any other proposed structures. That would certainly suffice for the requirement for the A2 survey.
Right. And that was going to be, that is one of the conditions I had in my draft resolution of approval. I've already given it to the applicant and their project engineer as was mentioned. But I'd be happy to discuss any of those conditions with you when we get to that point in the meeting.
Okay, that's fine. Do we need, a motion to table it and move it?
Yes, you do, Madam Chair.
So I would entertain a motion to table the review of the draft resolution of approval.
The site plan review for 13 Pleasant Street.
Thank you. The site plan review of 13 Pleasant Street until after the public hearing.
That's correct.
So, second,
Make the motion.
I'll make the motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote.
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Okay.
Okay, all right, moving on to a public hearing portion of 7 Rockwell Road. Before we open the discussion for this, I wanted to lay out some structure to it. So we have, this is new to me, so forgive my clumsy language. We have, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. We have both the applicant here tonight as well as an intervener, which means we will be hearing from 2 different parties to present information about this application. And we also have a public hearing, which means that there will be opportunity for members of the public to also comment. And the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to invite the applicants to go ahead and make a presentation for us. We are not going to have discussion at that point. We're going to hold that discussion. I'm going to give the intervener an opportunity to make a presentation to us as well. After we've heard from both of those parties, then we can have discussion with both the applicant and the intervener. After that discussion is closed, then we will open public comments.
for anyone else who has joined us this evening who would like to make a comment regarding the application. Yes, is that okay, Dave?
If that's the way you want to do this.
That's the way I want to do it. Amanda,
Very
good? Okay, Terry, do you have any questions about that? Nico? All right, with that being said, then I will put the floor gesundheit
I-
to the app. Yes.
I would ask, I'm sorry, there's a legal notice that needs to be read into the record.
Thank you. Do I need to read the title?
You need to read that in aloud, yes, please.
Okay.
Come on.
To appear in the Danbury News Times, November 14th, 2025, and November 21st, 2025. Legal notice. The Bethel Inland Wetlands Commission will hold a public hearing on November 24th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in Meeting Room D of the Bethel Municipal Center and via Google Meet web-based video conferencing to consider the following. Mark Bjorken, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Close enough.
Perfect.
Thank you. Number 7, Rockwell Road, regulated activities, activity within wetlands. At this hearing, interested persons may be heard and or submit written comment. Comments may also be sent via regular mail and email to landuse@bethel-ct.gov. Hard copies of the application materials are available for review in the Bethel Land Use Department on town website, www.bethel-ct.gov. Dated this 28th day of October at Bethel, Connecticut. Signed me, Danielle Monroe, Inland Wetlands Commission Chair. Done? Beautiful. I'd like to invite the applicant to,
Thank you. For the record, Neil Marcus, Total PC 158, here live in Danbury, joined by Jim McManus, and Royals, and with me is Josh Padero, one of my partners who's here also observing. And of course, we have Mark sitting here, Mark Jordan, who's going to present some of his more recent photographs concerning the property. This property, I'm not going to repeat what's in the application. The property, as you've all seen from your sidewalk a week and a half ago, sits virtually on the banks of the river. I mean, it's amazing that it's still there after some of the floods. But the property during the flooding of the Landkill is actually an island, really an island in the stream. I mean, we got all sorts of pictures when the major rain, the water comes in front of the property in the river, and then the river is all around the property through the driveway in the back. It has serious flooding. Of course, across the street, the upstream neighbor who is an intervener, he has somewhat the same conditions.
across the street or across the
Across the
brook?
brook, I should say. Yeah, I'm holding a little, no more. But the property across the brook in better location is upstream from this property, but it has flooding as well. And if you look at the FEMA maps, actually, yeah, let me see your FEMA map. We'll go over it. The FEMA maps are on record in this area. That show that, let's see if I can identify.
Do you have this in the record?
That was up.
It's on the record,
but you have it in town.
It's on the town website.
So we can access that on FEMA.msc.gov, but I would
It's not
ask,
yet included in the record.
This is
Right.
this is,
I would just ask it down.
that's the name of
The interview across the street.
So what I would ask is that if that hard copy could be left with staff for the record, I would appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I may actually have a little reduced one, David, like making foods. Yeah, but as you'll see, I mean, the intervener's property, we figured 83% of the flood. Right? And the Georgia property is completely the flood line. So this area floods, period. That's there's no question about it. Is that a reduced copy of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get we got 6 copies.
You know what, forgive me, but I'm gonna just reorganize this a little bit here because it's not currently I'm gonna move you down a little bit so that Terry and Nico can both do this
Yeah.
as opposed to making you.
This is a, we don't need the whole FEMA map. Just so.
It's fine. If we're gonna be presenting stuff, I want all of
Yeah,
those
this comes
members of the commission.
from the FEMA map. And this, hold on to for one. And this is the. Copies that are on. What we're doing. This is a bunch of files. Once you pass those out. Right, you look at it.
Thank you.
You should. Yeah, that's.
I can't see the regular.
I'm sorry.
Key.
Passed it.
Key.
I think-
Legend.
No,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry.
Here's
I forget. I'm used to being done.
One of those, yeah, you're fine with it. In the meantime, let's talk about what we have here. So you have the intervener's property and the applicant's property all well into the flood zone. And therefore, flooding exists, and when my client purchased the property, the first thing he did was to clean it up. And in cleaning it up, he removed debris in the stream in front of the house. And that included some of the large boulders that had toppled down the brook, down the bank, or had been washed downstream during the high water. So that was put back onto the bank. So we cleaned up the bank, got rid of the trees that had fallen down, the shrubs. It was a cleanup. And basically, in doing that, he also, at the same time, took some of the materials he brought onto the site, some stone, which came out of his property in Newtown, and he built some retaining walls or stone walls around his own foundation. So he raised the stone, we have a picture of that, Mark? The stone wall around the foundation, you had it earlier.
That's one that shows that the water.
Yeah, it's like, you have one of the,
There's one.
that's the water. No.
Well, this is. Today.
No, take care for a second. See the whole rubble was washed down the street. Okay. Again, just to give you an idea, when we talk about, and I think you have some of these pictures for your records, but that's the type of flooding. That's the flooding that exists along the house in these major storms. And
That's
basically,
stated.
I had requested when we did the sidewalk that these photos be sent to Dave so we could include them in the record. Did we receive those?
No.
So one of the reasons that I wanted to do it that way was so that they could be displayed up there so that everyone who's participating could see it. So in the future, if we could try and get things all uploaded into the digital, because this is a challenge for us to present, that would be great.
okay, so most of these pictures, some of them you do have in the record because we had filed them previously. Do you have any pictures in the file?
Oh, yeah, there are several photographs.
Yeah,
Terry Marcus.
most of these, yeah, they're all there.
I don't know that they're all there. We have lots of photos from our 2 visits to the site.
Right. They would not include any applicant photos that the applicant is submitting as part of this application unless they're a resubmission, which I think that should be clarified whether some of these photographs that are being presented are being resubmitted or if they're.
Well, you've got the historic photos.
Yes, right.
But we don't have photos of the things that they're presenting here in the file, because they're showing us images of
We're just
actual,
showing you more recent ones, but you have the historic ones.
they're showing us, excuse me, they're showing us photographs of actual flooding events. We don't have any of those because we weren't on site unless they were submitted, were they?
Right, so the earliest photographs that we have of the property would have been as part of the enforcement actions that took place in September of 2023.
And do we have you may not have them demarcated, but do we have photos that were submitted by the applicant or just the ones that we took on our 2 visits to the site?
So I
You went
have
out as well.
I have photographs that were taken by myself,
Mhm.
commissioners during previous site walks, and from the intervener for this application when they acted as an intervener.
And you
for the
have
previous site.
pictures for me.
That's correct. As
Gotcha.
part of your
Back in
exhibit.
23.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. I remember those from when we were originally looking at this. Okay, so we do not have any of these.
Those have disappeared. We asked Jim McManus to go out and to do an assessment of the wetlands and the water courses on the site. So do you want to run them through your report real quick?
I don't have, now we're gonna go back to 2023 because that was the only time I was really on site. Yes, the last time I was there was with all you folks. And back then, I talked to the applicant and find out what happened, and what's going on, and then watch what he was doing, because at that point, he was under evaluation. And then I flagged the wetlands within the study area, which was, I forget exactly, but anyway, it was enough area to describe what was going on at that time. And at both sides of the bank. And now at that time, it was under everybody's impression that he owned both banks. So I was going out there, I flagged the wetland, which essentially falls along the top of bank. I think we all saw that. We saw some of my remnants of like, there's one area where it blowed out where some water kind of washes in, but most of it falls right on the top of the bank with a narrow to no fringe at all, other than almost like a water course. The resource would be a water course. There was some areas where you have a strong fringe wetlands, particularly down gradient off-site and off-study area. So at that time, I just came up with a really simple plan that we would, you know, there was exposed soils, we'll stabilize them. He had you saw from my pictures. Was that on all pictures?
Okay.
My picture number 4 back then, you can see the little bridge that he did, but then he sloped the rocks to the other side. That was going to be removed. And then we had just a handful of shrubs, a total of, I think it was a total of 5, just to stabilize the slope a little better, and then any.
You were suggesting, I can't recall.
Yeah,
I know.
I was
to
suggesting,
introduce them or to remove them?
no, to introduce them, to plant them. 3 spice
I'm
bush.
just trying to clarify what he's saying to get it clear on the record. I'm not trying to have a discussion.
Okay.
I know, I'm aware, but
Okay.
I'm not, if it's not clear, then I can't.
Understood.
3 and then 2 high-bush blueberries. That was the plan. And that was just a simple plan to just mitigate for the area where we, and the big reason was, you know, on the opposite side of the bank, which is, whatever, it's on the opposite side of the bank from where we were standing at the sidewalk. It's visible undercutting. Exposed roots, trees had fallen and at times passed. So snap forward a bit later, you find out he doesn't own them. So this whole thing, instead, Attorney Marcus gets involved, we have a problem, we can't mitigate on somebody else's land. What do we do? Blah, blah, blah. And now here we are. So that was it. I just came up with a very simple report back in 23 with a simple little way to get Mr. Burke out of trouble. And but other things happened. And here we are.
Any questions on? what we
We're
have?
going to hold questions
Oh.
until after everyone's had a chance to present. I apologize for asking questions, but then I just was trying to get clear.
So the application before you is to permit us to do the cleaning of the bank, which is already done. I mean, to leave the banks as they are. I don't want to take any of the material that was taken out and put it back in. I mean, you could actually, the commission could order that, but we don't think it makes much sense to let the banks be cleaned up and allow the bank to be stabilized and the stone walls that have been put up around the foundation to exist. And that's really the essence of this. The distance of this activity is about 67 feet. I mean, it's not a major project. It's 67 feet. And the issue is, of course, the neighbor who was the intervener, I've talked to him and he'll make his presentation, is concerned that the work that we may have done might impact his property in terms of the flooding. The answer is that anything that's done on the 67 feet is not going to have a major impact on flooding. The flooding of that brook is a large problem. I mean, if you've ever seen the area with a major storm, 67 feet we're talking about is nothing. That I know they've seen pictures of that. The streets themselves, Rockwell Road, will be underwater. And the two bridges that are on either end of this property, and hang on one second, just as an aside, the town of Kent is about to vote on our motion.
Okay, thank you.
On my left here, I'm having two hearings.
That's a crazy case.
Fortunately, I'm speaking engagement up there. I just have to listen. But the fact of the matter is that the work that Mark is doing has absolutely no impact on the flooding of the area. That's a huge watershed. He has taken some of the rocks, and he's willing to take more of the rocks out of the brook if that will help the water flow through there. Because what's happened in some of these storms, the boulders have actually washed downstream. They will, because there's been a huge velocity.
It's huge velocity. As you can see, downcutting, when you see a stream that downcut, that incisors and then undercuts, it's got a high flow, velocity flow. And in many communities, particularly this watershed, is due to development. Maybe some sins of past that we didn't know back then. Now we do, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah.
And any work that Mark does at this point to remove any further boulders that are blocking the stream will be done by hand, because most of the work he's done up there has been by hand. He doesn't use large equipment. He does it with chains and hoists, and he gets stuff out. It's actually incredible to watch what he does. But what we're asking this commission to do is to allow basically the remediation of the bank that has already taken place. And there's not a lot of work that will continue other than to finish the stone walls so that they will complete right now. When you're up there, it's a mess. There are rocks all over the place because the work's been stopped for 2 years actually. So that's our proposal. And other than that, it's in the application.
Right.
Do you have anything else that you need to add to this?
Not enough, you want to, you know, that's what we're
Well,
hoping to do. No,
Okay.
that's good.
Okay.
That's good. Yep.
Okay, so we'll rest for the moment to listen to whether there are any questions from the public.
Thanks. Give them a second to tidy their stuff, Mr. Blanchett, and then I'll invite you.
So I'm gonna leave the room. We've got to leave this. And this, you know, because do you?
You had used it as part of pointing out where things were.
Well, it's only to show you where this came from. That's okay. You want it?
Yes,
I handed that in. I mean,
You can have it.
thank you. Thank you very much.
You have one of these.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Blanchett, did you wish to present? I'm sorry, can you introduce yourself and your
Yeah.
address?
Brian Blanchett, 4 Old Hollisville Road.
Thank you.
I don't know, I don't really know where I'd like to start. I mean, thanks for your time, obviously.
If you
David,
could just come up to the dais, please.
what's that?
If you could just come up to
So
the,
that you're on the camera.
Stand up?
however you'd like, just so long as you're seen on the.
Or did you end up finishing your staff report at all? I don't know if I should really be the one talking here because, I mean, I don't really know what to say. We've already kind of had this conversation,
Well, this
but I
is,
don't want to beat a dead horse.
Thank
So,
totally
Thank
understand
you.
what you're saying. However, this is new.
okay,
So the conversations that we had before
yep,
aren't a part, I mean, they are to a degree, but I think it bears having you present the information that you might have presented before now to include in this application as opposed to from the previous discussions.
okay.
That was a long-winded way of me saying, yes, please tell us the things you want to say.
I don't really know. I guess I don't have anything to say. I want to see how this works out here because I'm not really prepared to, I had a professional that was gonna come this evening and he has another obligation, so I don't really want to, I mean, I don't know if we can reference the letter from Stephen Danzer from 2023 that was basically a response to Jim's.
Yeah, it's incorporated as part of the record, Madam Chair.
Maybe
So
we'll start for that.
would you like that?
Yeah, let's
It was-
include that as a
it came
piece.
in, it came in, whatever that was dated,
Yeah.
it came in like a week after that, and then it was presented at the following meeting.
Dave's gonna pull it up
Yeah.
so that we can
I
incorporate
I
that.
never was, well, I was kind of
That's fine.
done at that point.
Yep.
So why don't I try to find
Is it,
here? So it's a report from Dr. Stephen Danzer, Wetlands and Environmental Consulting, dated November 21st, 2023.
can you put it on the screen?
Absolutely, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much.
And it looks like Mr. Sacramani is joining us.
Lovely. Can we just pause for an introduction on him?
Yes, I'm waiting for him to pop up here.
Thank you.
Hello, Nick. Can you see and hear us okay?
Yes, I can. I can see and hear you. My camera is off because I'm pulling into my parking lot and then I will be joining with the camera.
Excellent. Thank you.
Nick, we're in the middle of reviewing 7 Rockwell Road at this point. Would you just mind introducing yourself for the commission?
Sure, no problem. Nick Sacomani, Commissioner.
Thank you so much.
You guys have a Wi-Fi?
Yes, we do. It's Bethel Bethel Municipal Center guest, I believe, is the Wi-Fi. Yeah, Linda, thank you. Oh, actually, that's the wrong window. Excuse me. That's better. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I can.
So this is a report that was submitted by Dr. Danzer on behalf of Mr. Blanchett as part of a previous item that was submitted to the commission. It was incorporated into the record as part of this application. And it can be forwarded to the applicant. It's available as part of the documents for this application on the town's website.
The only reason I'm going back to this is just because, you know, obviously it was in response. But most of this application material from the applicant is just duplicate the previous, so.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of his comments on this letter are mirrored in David's initial staff report.
Thanks.
That's it.
Am I scrolling too fast?
Well, we got a copy here.
Nope, we're all good.
Registration plate.
You never with me? Why? Because we just got that.
Yeah, but oh, no.
Wait a minute. Okay. No. No. I can't believe it. No. We just. Little aggressive. Yeah.
But that obviously only addresses the eastern portion. So for clarification, is the eastern portion, is that part of this application? What is actually part of this application? Because the way it's being presented, it's the eastern portion, which is agreed upon, that's not even his property. So the 67-foot spat that you guys are referring to, where is that located?
That's just the distance from where I started to where he's, any work that
Yeah, I
the
got it.
applicant did,
Yeah.
it was about, in my study area, it
Yeah.
was about 67 feet, 70.
Okay, the area on both sides.
Both sides. There was just a drawing
Towards
line
the
down the
north,
middle of the
towards
thing,
the
about
north, right?
70 feet.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
I didn't go any further downslope. I didn't go any
Yeah,
further.
so I guess, I mean, basically, the work performed on the property was essentially the entire portion of his
Pretty much the length of, yeah.
Which is more than 60 feet, it's like 200 feet.
Yeah, but he only did about.
Yeah, that's what I'm
At the
saying.
time, he did
But if
about-
we were to do this properly, right, if it was, I feel like all these things that should be part of a regular application that aren't here would help us to, not be having this type of
Right,
discussion.
and the problem was back in 2023, even with Dr. Danzer's letter, it was on the neighbor's land, so
Yeah,
I was like,
still-
we're all done. I can't do this. I can't do my plan until we figure out what was going on.
Yeah, we're still trying to get a survey,
That's,
right? Which is where we were 2.5 years ago.
okay, well, in my involvement,
Yeah,
I stepped back.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah, I think
And I was waiting to get more direction.
As far as the flooding goes, I mean, I don't know. I understand that my property floods. I understand, does that give me the right to, I don't know what to say about the application, but they didn't really lay out anything on the record that's on the record for me to really, I don't.
you're feeling a
I'm
little
little
lost as to what to
Yeah, I'm
present.
a little confused because none of
So-
this stuff is really there.
Yep.
Well, I'll wait.
I guess what I'd like to say is, before this all, I mean, if we're gonna show photos, as far as,
Did you submit them to Dave?
they're all in there.
Yep.
I couldn't open up half of the photos on the, maybe you can find them,
Drive.
but
It's not in the drive anymore.
But
It's
as
on
far as the
website.
claim that this guy's cleaning anything up, that's not, I mean, this is what it looked like when he purchased the place. And so there, from what that is and what it is now, there's no cleanup. That's bogus. I mean, come on. It's totally night and day different. So when the water would rise up like it does, that no one's contesting that, it would go, it would come over both sides equally, and now it just comes to my side and just keeps, and he moved the river, so that's what the problem is.
That's what we're looking for, is for you to present the information from your perspective on
Yeah.
this application. They're presenting their information on their perspective.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just, there's so much time that's gone by. It's not like you can. I don't know what to say about this because it's just kind of.
Well, we're gonna come to,
Yeah. I hope
it'll come to,
Yeah.
I know it can be
It's just-
frustrating with
Yeah,
the process, but here we
Yeah,
are.
I'm glad you guys are here.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah, we're here, and attorneys involved and everything.
Is there any other historical information that you would like to share with the commission? Remember that some of the people on the current commission were not on the commission when you made your previous.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, so part of the reason why I'm not prepared, not to blame Dave or anything, but I was kind of looking to his staff comments. Like I said, most of the stuff is generic stuff that should be included in a standard application. So without that, like, I don't feel like if I can't tell you about what's going on through what they're presenting, I don't understand how you guys can make an educated decision about it. I mean, there's photographs on the record that show the flooding. They're part of his application photos. I mean, if anything, he's made the situation worse on himself, not better. I mean, the temporary bridge and the way he constricted the water, he basically made a venturi when he did that. He choked down both sides of the river, and they come to a venturi is when water comes together and it's directed in a certain direction like this, and then when it opens up back out of that, it intensifies, right? And so if you look downstream onto this guy's place, that's where all the garbage is, and that's where all the stuff ends up. It's not even, it has nothing to do with, me per se. It's the public. It's not just me, right?
And
So
we'll have an opportunity.
yeah,
for
but
public
that's why I
to
kind of
comment.
feel awkward sitting here like this is on me. This is a concern. This should be a concern to everyone, I guess is my point.
So I have not been involved in an application before that involved an intervener, but my understanding is that you're an equal party more or less in the discussion, and that's why we're highlighting you, and I apologize. I know.
I get it. I just thought we already went through all this. It feels like it's like the third time.
I know
doing
it feels that
right?
way. However, we have
Yeah,
to
I
treat
got
this like we're starting over from
Yeah.
square one.
But so with that being said, I would maybe just encourage you guys to look through the actual, the application, right? When you open it up and you can see previous enforcement actions. Like I'll walk you through every single thing and give you a rundown. If David can open them up, I'll tell you. I mean, I don't want, like I said, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but when I thought this stuff was going to be incorporated by reference, I didn't think there was going to be a need for me to have to go about
I'm sure
it.
that we will pull out staff comments and discuss.
I mean, I will
when we
say,
get there.
if, you know, to go to the initial complaint per se, or however you want to call it, this has evolved, right, throughout the course of this process. It started out as the initial complaint of him taking stones and doing that, and then this work, I believe there were 2 cease and desist, 2 orders to arrest. We had David out there on a Friday, right before I caught him right before he's leaving the office. The gentleman's got bags of God knows what on pallets, jamming it between stones, you know, out in the river. You just, you know, you couldn't even make half this stuff up. So I guess that's just how it is. And we'll see. Hopefully, you know, we can straighten it out. But I mean, I don't want to be here. This is not, you know. So anyways, thank you.
Is that close for you, Mr. Benjamin?
Yeah, can I reserve the right to talk again, or?
We're gonna ask questions, and sure, I don't see any problem with it being an open discussion with all parties. I just wanted to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to have the floor and say what they wanted to say up front, since I know that these conversations can get lengthy. I don't recall whether I said we were gonna have comments from the public first. I think we were gonna have the conversation between with the intervener and with the applicant first.
Can I have this gentleman, if he wanted to, I mean, can't he just be like my person who's gonna help me explain myself as the intervener? I mean, he can, if I mean.
I lack
I don't know if
experience
you-
here. Is that
or
an
if you wanna
acceptable
just
thing to have
listen
happen or
to
no?
it, but, I mean, it's the same difference.
I'd like to-
It's the same
We
difference.
will hear from him. It's just a
Yeah.
question of at what point we're going to hear from him. There's no question that we will hear from everyone who is here. and wishes to
Is the
present.
gentleman that's going to be speaking tonight, are they just an abutting property owner, or are they an expert?
Well, I'd say he's an expert on the property. How long have you lived
Right,
there for?
but,
Expert, it's like an engineer.
right.
Okay.
When I say expert, that's correct, Mr. McManus.
Okay.
I mean,
We
someone.
wouldn't mind hearing the neighbor.
Yeah, we could get
We'd
some.
rather see what everybody's concerns are, and we can
Right.
address.
Okay.
them.
I would not want to discourage anyone from the general public offering public comment. I
I'm
think,
trying to put it in the right place in the meeting. We will absolutely hear from everyone who wishes to make comments.
I think it's a good way to frame it, Madam Chair.
There's only one more, unless there's something
Okay,
else.
is that acceptable if we have public comment as well and then have the discussion, or is it
If you
more
want to go right
appropriate?
into public comment, that's right. If,
We
sure,
can still then return to the commission's
Yeah,
conversation.
you can have dialogue at any time.
Okay.
But if
There's
you
a
want
lot
to
of
keep it like
rules
Jim
around.
says,
Yes.
if they think it's.
Madam
better to
Chair, we
keep-
have no issue with the neighbor coming up.
No,
Excellent. Would you like to make a comment, sir?
When they're done.
You want to do when they're done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That answers it.
I want to take it all in.
Okay, that's fine. And we don't have anyone on screen from the public, do we?
No, what I would suggest, Madam Chair, is if the applicant has any response to any of the comments offered by the intervener, they should have a chance to do so. And then you would open
Sorry,
up.
can you say that again?
If the applicant has any responses to comments offered by the intervener, they should have an opportunity to do so. And then if you want to ask questions, that's at your discretion. And if you want to wait for anything else to open up to public comment, you know,
Also.
right. But it's, you want to give
Trying to
everybody.
keep a fair and balanced
Right.
presentation so that everyone has the chance to feel heard and present the information they think is relevant.
Right.
That's obviously
Sure.
all of our goal up here. Okay. So would you
With
like
that,
an opportunity to
yes.
respond?
Again, for the record, Neil Marcus. And the first thing is the Dr. Danzer report. So Dr. Danzer, in his 2-page letter, a page and a half, indicates that he is unhappy with the sketch that was in the JMM report. He didn't think it had precise and accurate information. I'll let Jim go over that again. And then Dr. Danzer says that based on site observation in conversations with the intervener, is that rocks were removed from the bed of the river and then placed along the riverside to harden the riverbank. We'll agree with that. That's what we did. And by the way, the application before you is to remove and deposit materials consisting of natural stone along the riverbank of the Limekiln Brook. as a part of a remediation project, removing debris and preventing erosion to reestablish the riverbank. That's clearly Dr. Danzer's observation. Is exactly what we've applied to do, and most of that work was done before Mark realized that he had to come in for an application. But besides that, and then he goes on to say, besides from being unauthorized, this activity is harmful to both the riparian habitat and underwater Bethel habitat, and benthic habitat. That's a conclusion that has absolutely no factual basis in this report. Now, interestingly enough,
So Dr., just 1 second, what are his credentials, Dr. Danzer?
They're right on the bottom of the thing.
Not looking at it.
I'm sorry, it's just unfortunate because he was here to defend his letter and you guys didn't show up 2 years ago. So, I mean, legit,
Dr. Danzer cites at the end of his letter that he is a professional wetlands scientist and an arborist.
and what else, like, and he's a member of, well, he's got a list of credentials, right?
Right, right.
he's in the Soil Scientists Society of Southern New England, but his PhD, according to his resume, is in renewable natural resource studies. But I'm just saying, I'm not sure.
Well, you're undermining his credentials and saying that he has no call to be able to make that observation. So I'm just trying to get on the record what his credentials are.
I'm not sure that he does or he doesn't. I don't want it to sound like that. What I'm saying is the report states conclusion, but nowhere in this report does he say what are the riparian habitats. What's the nature of the riparian habitat? Who inhabits it? What are we talking about along this bank of this river?
Well, nothing happens. He filled his yard.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then what the underwater benthic habitat is, and how this work that Mark has done to take, I will say, mostly debris out of the river, infects those people.
So I think what you're saying is that you would like more information from Dr. Danzer to substantiate those claims.
I think they're irrelevant, quite honestly.
They're not irrelevant to the Inland Wetlands Commission, whose job it is to protect
so
the
then
natural resource.
Okay, that's correct. Yeah, but I'm not sure. I think there are conclusions that really let them try to give you the study. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But here's my next question, or my next comment. Since you have no experience with an intervener, and I intervene all the time, I will tell you that the burden on the intervener is significant, because here's what the intervener has to prove. And he says it right in his own intervention. By the way, this is a short form intervention. This doesn't have all the statutory language in it, but I'm not criticizing Brian on that. It's fine. But if you actually go to the statute, this is spelled out in greater detail. But here's what he says, that the intervener under 22A-19 is an individual residing in the town of Bethel, 4 Old Holyville Road, across the water from 7 Rockwell Road, the subject of this proceeding, who is concerned, and actually the usual language used, has a belief and a reason to believe, he has a concern with the environmental integrity of wetland resources, including the groundwater, the surface water, land, and quality of life in Bethel, and hereby applies to become an intervening party. So basically, what he has to do is he has to show us in his intervention what the impacts are on the surface water that he's concerned about, what the impacts are on the groundwater. And again, if we had if there was some sort of activity, let me take the worst case. If we were drilling for oil, that'd be a whole different thing. But we're talking about taking debris off a riverbank. And I'm not sure how that affects either the wetlands resources, the groundwater, the surface water, and the quality of life in Bethel. I would actually say that this improves the quality of life in Bethel. If people took debris out of the Limekiln Brook, it would flow a lot better. And you know what? It'd probably look a lot better too. But we spend a lot of time cleaning up rivers and streams. We actually have, days where we do cleanup to get stuff out of rivers and streams. However, so these activities directly impact the quality of life of the intervener. So he can show us how that does it. I agree. We talked about the flooding, but that's not the issue here. The issue here is that the removal of debris, the taking natural stone and placing it on the riverbank, those are the activities that intervene. That's, as I say, a notice of intervention is great, but when you have to go out and actually prove it, I've done it, it's tough. It's a lot of work and things. And we can have that study done by Dr. Danzer. That's fine. But he'll have to go out and actually do the study.
That's the problem with his letter. He states conclusions without any evidence. And that's where he falls short.
But
And then here's the
burden's on you.
That's fine. No, but I'm saying when you guys.
So we got to
I'd
finish.
like a point of clarification. Because this is a different type of format than what I had presided or been a part of before is a better way of saying that. I understand that we have an intervener who's stating a case, and I understand that we have an applicant who is also making a request. We as a board we have our own rights to.
Of course.
Yeah, it's not, I don't, that's why they keep talking about me and this has nothing to do.
So
But
my
you're an
understanding,
intervener, though.
hold on a
Regardless
second,
of how-
gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to complete my statement and I would like to get some clarification from Dave.
You defer to the chair.
Thank you.
Please, I
So
do.
my understanding is that Mr. Blanchett has a right to present information that will help us to make our decision, but it's not on the burden that Attorney Marcus keeps talking about isn't on him to sway us. It is to provide information to us for our
Yes.
consideration as it is the applicant's.
At this point, Madam Chair, all you're doing is taking testimony,
Thank you.
okay?
I'm just clarifying because
No,
this is getting very contentious and I'm not really clear on what
I
this is. It's not a competition.
I would discourage any further direct dialogue between the applicant and the intervener. Let each party speak their piece uninterrupted. And you as the commission, if you have any questions for either party, you have the right to ask them.
Yeah, I thought this was all, I thought we were coming here tonight because this was all resolved and you guys were ready to sit down and actually be serious about the application.
Well, like Dave said, let's
It just got the
present
same
this to
thing
us,
that was
Mr. Blanchett,
here
so that we
before.
can cut
Yeah,
that down.
I'm confused.
Understood. So, all right, so I appreciate that Mr. Blanchett has presented information, including previous information that was provided to us moons ago. Did you have more?
Only paragraph 3 of the intervention, again, has the statutory language that you should be aware of. You have to consider this. The statutory language says that this administrative proceeding involves conduct which has, or which is reasonably likely to have, the effect of unreasonably polluting, impairing, or destroying the public trust in the air, water, and other natural resources of the state. That's the bottom line of the intervention. And if you can tie that into what Mark Bajorkin has done on the 67 feet in front of his property, you're a better person than I am because I can't figure it out.
Okay.
But that's you read the intervention
Understood.
and then actually read 22A-19. It's a terrific act. I'm all for it. It's a great idea, but it doesn't apply to this type of application. It really doesn't. And Brian, I don't mean to say this to be critical of you.
Please
I'm
keep
just
your
saying
presentation
that,
to us rather than
because
attorney.
there's some allegation that there's contention. Or this afternoon, I'd like to report, I called our intervener. We had a wonderful conversation. I asked him to point out work that he would like us to do, that we can ask the commission to do, to allow us to do, that would improve his property or alleviate his concerns. That offer is still open. It's no question. But going back again to, in the record now, Dr. Danzer's report, he says that removal of these rocks also negatively alters the natural flow of water as the rocks are no longer dissipating flow energy, leading to more erosion flows downstream. Well, that's interesting. The intervener for which he's writing the report is upstream. There's no question about that. You guys were out on the site. If you looked across the brook to your right, the water was certainly flowing from right to left, upstream to downstream. In Mr. Blanchett's property is upstream. So this conclusion here, again, doesn't have a direct impact on the intervention. And again, I don't know what Dr. Danzer's authority is for this conclusion either, but I gotta tell you, the study of rivers and streams is very complicated, and there are very few engineers that are recognized by the boards and commissions in the state and the DEP to do that work. It's not just a civil engineer, it's a specialty of people who actually understand the flow and the dynamics of the river, the banks, the dissipation of energy. I mean, between you and me, I'm no expert, but I've listened to these reports for the last 40 to 50 years, and I understand how complicated they are. So for Dr. Danzer to say in one sentence, I would say it's a little disingenuous. And then he goes on to say the JMM report does not address this. It limits the report only to one portion of the site located on the eastern side of the river, to which I say, amen. I agree. That's what we've done. We don't want to study the Limekiln Brook from start to finish. We're not Fuss and O'Neill. They do this type of work. Jim is not, I don't think by his own admission, qualified to do that. It's not his area. I'm not sure that Dr. Danzer is qualified. It certainly isn't his area on his list of qualifications. So I'm a little suspect of where we are going. But what we are here to do actually is to look at the work that was done. And again, if you feel that we should undo some of that work, we can dump some rocks back into the stream that were taken out. If you feel, on the other hand, that the offer that you should take some of the recent boulders that have washed down the stream and remove them, they will be removed by hand. They'll be moved with chains and hoists. And again, this whole thing about this temporary bridge, that temporary bridge was way beyond Mr. Blanchett's property on the flow of the stream. It was basically right at the end of his property, maybe beyond it. It was because the water had passed by his stream, by his house. And that temporary bridge was never in the water during any flood. It was taken out.
We have photographs.
I'm saying it went in and it was taken. The word temporary is the key. It was put in, it was used for a working stage, and it was taken out. But it was never there during any of these major storm events.
I believe
tell
we
you
do
what.
have photographs of the bridge
Okay.
in place
So-
with
The first
water
time they admitted
flowing.
it was a
Mark,
bridge.
Yeah, let me
Majorcan.
speak on that.
Mark Majorcan, the applicant, will speak on the bridge for a
Okay.
second.
So the bridge was across, and so I kept it short and sat on top of a boulder so that I could feed stone to the bank instead of bringing it on the top of the bank, bringing it down and try to move it back.
Where he ran it to what side of the whose property?
Let him-
Let him finish.
I'll give you a chance to rebut. It's okay, I understand. I'll give you a chance to rebut.
Okay, so I secure it because it's a very bad thing if this bridge goes downstream. So the stream we had high water. David came out and says, this thing is a hazard. We got to get this thing out of here. So I pulled it up, but to my credit, the bridge was secure. I didn't create a stupid, I think the job is to try to keep people doing things that they don't have any idea what they're doing because it causes great harm. So the bridge was removed and there was high water on it, but it was secured. And David said, the thing's got to go. Well, it came out. Okay, I'm sorry.
I appreciate it.
Did you wish to rebut that, Mr. Blanchett?
I don't even see what that has to do with the application at this point. I mean, the fact of the matter is, there's an application checklist. There's nothing that's required on that. This shouldn't even be considered a legitimate application. You guys need to come back with something. Like, they've been asking for surveys for 2.5 years. This is just basic stuff. Why are we gonna get into all the nitty gritty? I mean, I thought we were past, how we got here and I thought we were at what we're gonna do to fix it.
Great. Okay.
But as far as the rocks, those rocks that are on that wall, that bank, did not come from that river. You brought those there from somewhere else. They were not even native to that property. So, and there's asphalt, there's all kinds of stuff over there. So I just getting a little sick and tired of having the same conversation over and over again here. And not to discredit your report, Jim, but all he was referring to in reference was, you said it, you laid it right out in your report. You were only studying the 50-foot section on the eastern bank, right? He wasn't saying your work wasn't up to par or whatever. It was the same thing you said. This is all I'm doing, and I'm not looking at, I don't want to see anything else that's going on here. And still, right now with this application, there's been really no talk of a major work that's occurred on his property. We're still talking about work that is a moot point. It has nothing to do with this at all. The issue here is the stuff, the riverbed and the other side. It's not the eastern side of the river. It's his side.
One comment about Dr. Danzer's report. I wrote mine, he wrote his, and there was no rebuttal on either side. So we never really got into that discussion. But the only thing Attorney Marcus was saying was when you're intervening, it's prudent that the scientist or the engineer or whoever you hire has to, the kids can't make blanket statements without any factual backup. You can't say moving the things damage the benthic organisms.
Would he have rated if he had a chance to?
Well, he would have had to do a step. I'm saying, that report, that's what it said. He said, well,
Did he give a presentation? I think it's on the record at one of the previous meetings.
but we never had a chance to rebut it. We're just reading his letter, and his letter makes statements without any factual backup. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, I got it.
He did the same thing I did.
Yeah. And I'm doing the same thing that you're doing tonight by reading his letter, and you're
Yeah,
reading
and
the letter that you did
and
2
the first
years
time
ago,
I've
right?
seen the letter, so
Yeah,
I'm kind of rebutting what he said without having anything, no additional reporting to even discuss.
Understood. I think it's usually the commission's position that we would like more information. We would like all of the information. We would like the studies. We would like the engineer to weigh in. We would like all of the things.
But as far as the burden goes,
But that's what the intervener.
yeah, for the intervener purpose, but if he presented this application and this work hadn't already been performed, he would have to present, he would have to present it, i.e. Jim McManus and whatever other professional, right? And they would have to prove to you guys that it was okay to do the work. That hasn't occurred. So that's kind of the problem, right? It's not my intervener guys, it's.
No, but it turned into that. But anyways, get away from that for a minute. Now, again, it's the study area. The violation was on a study area. It wasn't on the entire brook watershed. It was on this study area. If you study the study area, which is not even 70 feet long, you can come to some conclusions that the impact was not hit statutory levels, which is an direct adverse, significant impact to the resource. On 70 feet, no, I didn't come to that conclusion.
But it's not through doing its damage because it's still.
But at 2023, I had to make a
Based on the-
decision.
Yeah, but so thankfully we didn't make the decision in 2023. Now 2 years have gone by, and like I said, if they acknowledge this stuff, he pushed the bank away from his property, away from his house, Jim, and he pushed it east, and that's why the eastern bank has an issue, right? So what he did was he pushed it away, right? And then he figured out after, or so he thought, that he owned the property on the eastern side.
And I thought so too.
Yeah, but
I don't think,
well,
I understand. And I feel like there's a lot of defensiveness going on and
We're just trying to
yeah, well, this is the first time we've actually sat in
I understand. I completely understand.
this
I'm
is
just
probably the
trying to
most
keep this.
productive.
I know.
I'm sorry, but it's probably the most productive we've been, but
I
this is
understand.
why I didn't want to get into this. I thought that you guys
I understand.
had enough.
I'm gonna try
Not
to
here to.
We are,
wrap this presentation up real quickly if I can. Your regulations. 2.2. The definition of a regulated activity. That's what we're here for. We're here to apply for a regulated activity. Not to do major flood control. Any operation within or use of a wetland or water course or of a review area as defined in the regulations involving removal or deposition of material or any obstruction, construction, alteration, or pollution of such wetlands or water courses, except as may be provided in Article 3. So our position is that the work that has been done involves removal of material from a water course. It's a stream. And that may have altered the water course because we've taken obstructions out of it. So it alters the water course. But it has not been done in any manner to pollute the wetlands or water course
That says or, not
all.
and, so that's
No.
not
or pollute, right?
right.
Alteration or pollution, okay? So then you have to go to section 3. Now, this is why we're here, because the intervener has raised a good question. Why are we really here? We're here because we claimed at one point to this commission that under 3.2, we, upon notice, the notice requirement of 3.21, that we could carry out a permitted operation as a residential home and a residential accessory use. So the residential accessory uses are uses incidental to the employment and maintenance of residential properties. Well, I gotta tell you, Mark Bajorkin did this to try to stop his house from washing into the river. So he was certainly trying to maintain his residential property.
Right, but the substantial amounts of material were being removed and deposited, so it still falls under a regulated activity.
That decision ultimately will lie in the hands of a judge in the Superior Court.
That's why we're
Because
here.
that case, but the thing, why we're here, that case is currently pending.
I
We are
understand that, but the
here-
reason that we're here is because you have given us an application because you believe and we believe that you are depositing and removing substantial
That's
amounts
not
of.
why we're here. We are here.
That should be why you're here.
We are here.
That's what we're here to review.
We are, but I'm saying this is a little different. I want you to review that, but we are here because the town attorney and I agreed that we would allow the commission to take another look at this. And before the Superior Court has to rule on whether you get to look at it, and we were perfectly willing to do it. And we would ask the commission to go out and look at the property, listen to the neighbor who was concerned, and come up with any recommendations as to how to improve and finish this
Respectfully,
project.
that's not our job. That's the job of an engineer.
Okay, so hold on a second. So we have, when you say it's the job of an engineer, we have just submitted to you, all we are planning to do is to finish the cleanup of the bank and the stabilization of the bank. And you can actually see in the field what we want to do, because it's done. So that's, but it's unique. This is not your normal application. We're here basically to try to settle a little piece of litigation. And by the way, when I talked to you earlier, and I was listening to the town of Kent, we actually settled an appeal up there this evening
Wonderful.
with the Inland Wetlands Commission,
Wonderful. Dave,
much
did you
the
have
same way. So I'm saying, it
Okay, well,
happened.
we're here, so we're
It
gonna talk about here rather than Kent. Did you have
That's right.
something that you wanted to add?
I am chomping at the bit,
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Uh,
But as far as,
Just a moment.
Well,
I would really
oh.
like to let Dave weigh in. He's
I-
been holding his,
Thank you.
well, I
I-
thought it finished first.
Right, I agree. I would want Attorney Marcus to
Okay.
finish what he has to say. If he could summarize his comments, and I
So
would recommend.
here's.
Yeah.
So we are here asking to permit, as I say, it's a very simple statement in the application, the completion of the restoration of the shore in front of the Bajorkan house. We're not here to ask, as I say, for permission to do flood control. We're not. We're not here actually to ask for permission to build a stone wall. We're not. That's not a regulated activity to build a stone wall. I mean, people build stone walls around their houses and
talking
landscaping
about
all
in
the
the
time.
water course.
Yeah, but no, not, we're gonna be out of the water course. The stone wall is high up on the back. That's right. It's only in the water course, but there's a flood. I mean, then we're in the flood zone, but we're not in the water course there. We're in the flood zone. And actually, that may be the better place to refer this application to the Flood Control Commission, to the extent we have one in the town of Bethel. But that's different. And as a matter of fact, but from a wetlands point of view, we're asking you merely to look at the work, as I say, to settle this case. If you want us to put materials back into the river, we'll do it. I mean, reluctantly, we don't think it makes sense. If you want us to move boulders back and create more boulders in the river, we'll do that too. But the answer is, the other decision, of course, is to ask a court to determine whether we're a residential accessory use, in to which we say, what's the difference? We'll fix any problem that you think we created. Seriously. And that's why we're here.
Would you like me to pass it to open comment or would you?
I think that's why, just to get what they have to say, if it's brief, and then let me speak afterwards.
So we have one member of the public here who has not had the opportunity to speak yet. Would you like to make a public comment, sir?
Sure.
That's you. Just please introduce yourself and your address for the record.
Bennett Kellogg. Hi, Gary. It's been a long time.
I know, I was thinking, I know you, but.
First of all, these three
I'm
guys
sorry,
won't
what's
be
your
here.
address?
17 Rockwell. I'm the one that's downstream from Mark.
Which side of the bank are you on?
Mark, Brian's side. I own
Oh,
both.
both. You have property on both sides.
Yes,
Thank you for the clarification.
So let me just, free up the air a little bit. If Joyce Dixon was at this board right now, these three guys wouldn't be here. You would have never gotten as far as they did. I don't know if you knew, of course you knew Joyce. She would have never let any of that happen. Regardless. All right, Mark, I knew Mark was doing that. And I don't see any problem with him protecting his house. But at the same time, if it's eroding the bank faster on Brian's side, that's a problem. Yes, I know it floods, but like Brian said, you push the bank out on your side. So of course it goes further out to his side. The stake, I looked at the stake, his property, iron post or stake is on the edge of the bank now where it used to be land in front of it. So yes, your lawyer said it does flood, no doubt about that. But to build up there's that much and you move the river over toward Brian, it washed it out a lot quicker than it would have, in my eyes. And if you did make a venture, I would love to go over there on my property and look at what he's done from my side. If you did make a venture in the brook, have you seen the logs on my? Yeah.
So this is,
Okay. So anyway, if it did make a venturi, that could have been the reason I have so much crap in my yard. If it made it like a funnel and it picked up speed, whatever, I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. He did put rocks on my side where he had that bridge, which I told him at the time, that's fine. Remember I said, yeah. So that's all right. I just didn't want him to do whatever he wants to do and erode Brian's bank away. And as far as pulling rocks out of the river, as far as I know, you're not supposed to even be in the brook doing that. I could see you adding stone on the bank to hold, behind your house to stabilize the bank. But as far as pulling rocks out of the brook, I didn't think you could do anything like that. Maybe I'm wrong. But just concerned for my property isn't as affected like Brian's, but I do have a mess on my side of the house, and I don't know if that had anything to do with what Mark did. But I would love to go over there and meet with you over and look at this some more. I know you were just there. I wish I knew. Yeah, so I own on both sides and just past where the brook goes out toward the road, it really has eroded the bank, not from what he did. It's been going that way for a long time. And, I think we should look at that because eventually, not in our lifetime, but go right up to the road. I mean, it's undermined probably 6 feet under the bank. Like I said, I'm not saying it's from what he did. That brook, I mean, well, like you said, the floods Rockwell Road. Yeah. Yeah.
this is yours.
Yeah, I know, I could tell.
You're the next property, it's you and then you.
I'm downstream.
You have severe undercutting going on.
Exactly.
And it's been there since I've seen it.
Oh, it's been there for a long time. That's why I would like to go out there.
That's why I was just kind of like, what are you doing? Just don't mess with anything. Just leave it. Oh my.
He'd like to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Kellogg, it was.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Kellogg. Is there more that you wanted to share?
No, and I don't think well, yeah. He keeps saying the burden's on Brian. How is that Brian's burden?
I think he's talking about things from a legal perspective, but my understanding from the commission perspective is that we are here to look at all of the information that's presented to us and then work with the applicant on whether or not this is going to be approved or denied or remediated or so. I'm not clear on that piece. Can you elaborate on that?
When it's my opportunity to speak, Madam Chair.
Well, I could say, Madam Chair, that Neil could probably do it better than I can, but when you intervene, you're pretty much saying that I'm not liking what the applicant is doing.
Right.
So when you intervene at the wetlands level, you need to prove all the legal beagle stuff. And that's the issue. That's not easy sometimes. And it gives the landowner, the intervener, it's challenging. It can be. He has to hire experts potentially, things like that. And but that's how the law works. And it flows both ways. It protects the applicant, but it also protects the people who want to intervene. You have an opportunity
Yeah, okay.
to
So
speak.
the burden's on him to prove that.
What we are doing is gonna disrupt all those legal people.
So basically, the intervener
Okay.
happened because they didn't listen to us.
Understood.
But that's kind of the way it works.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Kellogg? Anything further?
No, I think that's it. Anything I'm forgetting?
Very good. Did you wish to rebut any of
Actually,
that?
I'd like to agree with what he just said. Because if you listen to his comments, he talks about the condition of the banks. And quite honestly, he's worried about the erosion on the intervener's banks. And if we can do anything to stop, to remediate or to avoid that erosion, we'll do it. We'll do it. But guess what? The work that we would do is pretty much what he has done. We've stabilized the bank. And that's what, so I agree with Mr. Kellogg. His observations from, and he knows his neighborhood better than anybody, because I guess that he's been around it almost as long as I have. Probably not much longer. But so I agree with what he says. I think it's important to consider that.
All right, thank you. I also have been the one doing all of the talking, and there are 3 other members of this committee.
Jump to me.
We can jump to you. I just want to make sure that if we jump to you, I'm not cutting off my fellow commissioners who may have many things to talk about.
Understood.
Is that if we jump to you for staff comments to add to the conversation, or am I then shutting off voices that absolutely?
No. I don't want to take away from the commission's opportunity to raise any questions, but I would just hope me speaking before or me jumping in at this juncture would try to clarify some things.
Are we comfortable with that, commissioners?
I am.
Yeah.
Nick? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I understand that this conversation can get very heated on both sides. People are very passionate about their positions, the information that they've presented, and trying to come forth to this public hearing in good faith as far as representing their testimony. Okay. And to that effect, I have some testimony that I would like to offer that Mr. Blanchett alluded to as part of his comments. I had discussed with him during previous visits to our office that I would prepare review comments for you. I do have those ready. I apologize that I haven't been able to get these to you any earlier than right now. I'm not doing this for shock and awe by any means, but I had to take a lot more time than I wanted to try to frame for myself and for you.
Thank you very much.
What my comments would look like. Okay. So if you want a moment to digest these, feel free to take it. but I really don't think it's necessary because you really, oh, sorry, yes. I really don't think there's anything new in this that you guys haven't already seen. Yeah, probably, sure. I just
You can
wanted.
put it on the screen for Nick.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
yes.
just about to ask
Yes,
that. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to interrupt. Is it possible to get it?
Can you read this?
Yeah.
You got it?
Hold on. I can put
My
my glasses real quick.
That just give me a second and I will have those.
No problem, Dave. Take your time.
Thank you.
You're young.
I got time. Don't worry.
I just have to find where I put that. Okay. There we are. And to show you how hot off the press these are, I haven't even scanned in my own signed copy to distribute with anybody. I literally had these done a half an hour before this meeting, and I apologize for this. Can everybody read this?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
He's the only
good.
one that.
Okay. So I will have to scroll slowly while I go through what verbal comments I would have to offer, okay? And I'll just offer any opinion or however the correct framing for it or wording for it would be, but we have to get out of this mindset of trying to interpret what this application is and what its purpose is for, okay? Nothing in your regulations specifically speaks to flooding, apart from having a generic term that says you should prevent it where practicable. I don't know what the specific section is, but that's the generic language that's used, okay? So there's nothing specific for your review when it comes to flooding or where it occurs. Yes, we've heard a lot of testimony tonight. Flooding is prevalent on all of the property. That's no question, okay? Your scope of your review stems, it's all based on the wetlands and the water course, okay? That is what you are charged with reviewing. What are the impacts to those resources with respect to what application has been submitted, okay? So that's one frame of mind that you should consider. The other is, this isn't a matter of appeasement, okay? This shouldn't be, if you do this, are you okay? If we do that, are you okay? No. If you want to do an activity, you have to descriptively propose and state what it is and why you're doing it and why you believe those proposed activities are not a permanent or temporary direct adverse impact to on-site wetlands or watercourses. You know, just to keep this site specific. I know we can go on about Limecombe Brook. I really don't want to do that. Okay. I also really don't want to beat a dead horse and go through however many hundreds of photos we have to date of, you know, what has taken place and where, because I think they all speak to you know, the fundamental issue of there's been activity that has occurred. It does not yet have a permit. Okay. And I also don't want to get into a matter of pending litigation. I don't think that's very smart of you to do. There is a status conference scheduled with the Commission's Counsel, Chuck Andrus, and the Applicant's Counsel for January 14th of next year. And I'm sure that discussion will be heavily based on what you know, takes place in this meeting and presumably your next meeting, which is December 8th. And so let's leave that out of the picture for right now. I want to get back to okay. I'm sorry. I was jotting all my comments down while everybody was off and testifying. I just want to make sure they're reframed. The first thing you really need to have clarified as part of what this application is, what is the area of work? Okay. As part of Mr. McManus's testimony, he defines what his project area is. As part of this application, you have a photocopy of presumably a survey of this property or something from GIS. I'm not sure which exactly it is, that shows what the intended scope of work is. What is the actual area where work is being sought to be permitted for? Okay, you need to have that clarified. Between all of the testimony that the applicant has given, what areas are we looking to address as part of this application? Okay, that's one thing. Second thing is, what is it that's being done? Okay, I go back to what I was saying before about things being generic, and then you go into the testimony that's been offered about rocks having been removed, having been placed along the bank. Okay, those are summary statements. Be specific. Was it by hand? What materials were used? Do we know what those materials are? Do we know how much of them were placed and in what areas? You have the right to request that information because you're trying to render a decision on whether or not the activities as they're being proposed, are compliant with your regulations, and B, demonstrate in your eyes that they're not going to be a permanent adverse impact, as I mentioned. So make sure while we're in this phase, you get as much information as you can to substantiate that, okay? Which goes into my third thing, okay? Substantive evidence is important. You want to have that in whatever format, be it qualitative or quantitative, to support your decision. Okay. There's comments made about the substance of Dr. Dancer's report. And yes, as staff, I would agree. If you're going to make a statement, what evidence do you have to back that up? Okay. The converse is true for Mr. McManus's report. Okay. If Mr. McManus is going to offer statements in his report, what evidence does he have to back that up? Okay, you should consider what both experts are saying and the reasons that they give to support the arguments. So it goes both ways. Okay, there's a lot of testimony that you're going to have to review, and I apologize for how much it is. Okay, but it's worth it because there's a lot of backstory that both the intervener and the applicant, are referencing here, and some of it can be surmised from what's there or what's being presented tonight. But a lot of it's also in the photos, and a lot of it's in the report. I really recommend you read those and take some time between now and when I would recommend this public hearing continue at your next meeting. Go through those, and if you have any questions, make sure you ask them for the applicant, okay? And if it's a matter of us or the town having its legal expert present to weigh in on, what an intervener needs to have as far as a burden of proof, or what you should really focus on as part of weighing your decision. If you guys make that request, I'll make a point to have attorney understand. Okay. He didn't think it was worthy to be present tonight, just because all you're doing right now is you're gathering testimony. Okay. I really don't want to go down the rabbit hole and try to play attorney of who has what burden. Okay. Because you got to gather all the information, and you got to make sure that the information you're getting is what you need and it's relevant. Okay. One thing that you should consider, actually two things you should consider. I put out a request to the town engineer to offer review comments. I'm hopeful that they'll be in for the next meeting. they're not going to be able to offer comment on everything that's been weighed by Dr. Danzer or Mr. McManus, because he's not a professional wetland scientist. He's an engineer. Okay. So if you feel that something else should be offered between the two of them, or perhaps have another expert, you know, from whoever it may be, you know, it could be another wetland scientist, it could be a limnologist, it could be.
You need an engineer.
Right.
That
We're having
understands
the town
stream
engineers.
flow dynamics and volume and flow of water.
Yeah, that's understood, and I'm hopeful that Mr. Ritchie will be able to speak with
Even basic
those.
calculations of volume and flow.
Sure. I'm hopeful that Mr. Ritchie, when he presents his comments, he'll be able to frame them in such a way that addresses what those comments are, that can complement what testimony has been submitted today. You know, this I will say, this is unique for him in the sense that most of the time he's reviewing comments for you, it's related to man-made structures, okay? New homes, grading and fill associated with stormwater management systems, things of that nature. We're just talking about a resource at this point. So I'm as optimistic as you.
Dude, if he can't calculate the volume of water in a stream bed, then somebody can.
Right. And I would have that conversation with Mr. Ritchie. If he feels that he's not the appropriate expert to speak to that, I would have him say such, and then we take things from there. But right now I'm just taking information just like you know, as it's coming to you. So I don't want to make any presumptions until something is given to me that states otherwise.
And I want to call awareness to the fact that since we've had this happen previously, we sometimes run out the clock on inviting other experts to come in, and I don't want that to happen.
Right. And that was another thing I wanted to get to, okay? I really appreciate that we have all these different voices in the room to take this application seriously and to offer testimony on this, because to this point, for all the actions that have taken place so far, which I'd be beating a dead horse, you haven't had that. Okay. So I'm optimistic now that going forward, whatever information you guys request, the applicant will do their best to provide that. And if the intervener wants to weigh in any comment for what I offer or what the applicant offers, they have a right to do that. Okay. And ultimately, your decision is going to be based on who you believe and why. Okay.
So can you clarify that? We have to, is it our role here to make a decision on whether we believe the intervener, or is it our role here to decide whether this has an adverse impact on the wetlands? Those seem to be different things.
Right. Well, while they may be different, while they may be framed as different things, okay, it all boils down to the same issue of, does it have an inverse impact on the water? Okay, and you know, the applicant can propose whatever they wish to do, be it remove or add material. That's at their discretion.
I'm asking whether or not we need to rely on the intervener's presentation, or whether or not we have a right to bring in our own experts in order to assess this, including the intervener and including the applicant and including our own resources.
Yeah, if you want to have a third party, if you want to have your own,
We're getting our town engineer to look at it, for example, so that's a piece of the puzzle.
Right. So, and if you believe what he offers as far as his comment or expertise isn't enough, then you as much as it delays process or your ability to make a decision, you can request that information.
So the clarification is, no, we don't require the intervener to make a case. It's not,
Court case.
I don't want to speak on the burden of proof issue tonight. That's,
Okay.
I,
It just keeps being
I'm
brought
not-
to the table,
I-
and that's not my
I-
understanding of how we're reviewing
I,
this.
I know, but at the same time, I'm not Attorney Andres.
Okay.
So
Fair
I
enough. Let's
I
have
don't,
him here next time.
yes,
Yeah.
if you guys
Yes.
would request that he be here,
Or
I can
I have a
certainly have-
specific question for him now, if it's a good time to ask it, Madam Chair. For Attorney Andres, before we forget, so that he can look at this video on the record and see it outside and be prepared for with response when he does join us next meeting.
See your video on record?
This video that we are taking.
Oh, I
recording
thought
of-
that video Nico took.
the
question-
recording of the meeting.
My question is, what's the build date on the house, on the structure that's in the floodplain? And are there any, it's in the regulatory floodway, and how, what are the legal rights that that property has if it's built before or after a certain date?
Mark, what's the?
Are there any special rights that the property owner has to maintain that? That's maybe even supersede our wetlands regulations, which came out in 1972. I'd like him to tell them what.
Well, he can do that, but those are questions I'm comfortable answering.
That would be good.
Sure. Okay. The regulations regarding, this property in the floodway, those are all actually cited from the code. Those don't have anything to do with wetlands. As counterintuitive as it is, your floodplain manager, actually, I believe it's the building official here in the town of Bethel, okay? And the regulations that regard activities within floodways, that actually falls under zoning, okay? So, you shouldn't think of this, in the sense of, when was the structure built? Are there any legal nonconformities that where this applicant has preserved rights to do activities? That the bottom line is, if I could put my zoning hat on here for a second, anytime you're doing work within a floodway, if you are altering the property's capacity to receive and or disperse floodwaters, you need a permit, whether that's from the zoning enforcement officer, which would be myself, or the planning and zoning commission, just because to seek a variance from the regulations. Okay, and I want to steer hard away from any talk about floodways or flooding. Okay. The only place where flood enters the conversation is floodplain. And the only reason why it does that is because in state statute, areas where you regulate include those. Okay?
Well,
Poorly,
point of information.
Sure.
We do have there's words in our regulations that talk about the critical flood storage capacity of a wetland, of course.
understood. But remember, go back to listen to yourself as you say that phrase, Mr. Jordan, because it relates to the wetland or the water course. Okay, everything about this application is centered on that.
And its
Okay.
ability to manage with.
Correct. So it's effect that it has on Mr. Bjorken's property, Mr. Blanchett's property. While that information is certainly pertinent, it's not necessarily relevant to your application. You are focused on the wetlands and the water. Okay. For whatever information the applicant can provide to you to show you what has been done or what the applicant proposes to keep, to demonstrate that that work isn't going to have a direct adverse impact and is compliant with your regulations, you need to acquire that information. Okay, so make sure you ask those questions about, what does Mr. McManus's report speak to? Does it have everything that you need? Okay, because if it doesn't, then I would agree with Mr. Blanchett. You're kind of in one of these. And I really don't want to have to go through that again. I know you guys don't. And just there's one last point I wanted to make. It's about the bridge. Okay. Yes, I did instruct the property owner, Mr. Bjorken. I gave him instruction regarding that bridge because there was a heavy rainstorm, either January of 2023 or 2024. I know it was after when the rainfall, there was a rain event where we had gotten so much water that the rainwater was the flow, the height of the water in Limekiln Brook had actually gotten up to the deck of the bridge that Mr. Bjorken, right, and it was topping it. And Mr. Bjorken, yeah, he and I both saw that, okay, and I consider that to be a hazard. So I didn't want Mr. Bjorken's deck of his bridge to wash away and damage someone else's property. Okay, so I gave him instruction to remove that. Okay, but a point of clarification should remain is that I didn't say anything about the piers. Okay, which is what the bridge was fixed to on either side of the water course. Okay, and I think. I'm sorry, you're
Mr. Kellogg.
Mr. Kellogg, thank you. Mr. Kellogg briefly spoke to that. Mr. Blanchett briefly spoke to that. And I think it's worth, as part of your questions, you ask the applicant, okay? You're talking about, for the fill material, you're talking about the removal of material. What about what's been left behind apart from that, okay? And whether or not it's okay for those things to remain, or how does that work to be addressed? I know it's a lot. Happy to answer any questions you may have. At this point, you're just accepting testimony. I really recommend you keep this open to the next meeting on the 8th, where hopefully we can have more constructive conversation from both sides on how to keep handling this going forward. That's all I have.
Thank you. I've said probably plenty. So I'd like to open the floor to our other commission members to either ask questions or get some clarification. But can we start with Nick up there? He's been very
I've been kind of, I was going to ask the commission first because when the applicant was talking about some of the contents of Mr. Or Dr. Danzar's report, I think apologize if I mispronounced his name, including things like riparian zone and benthic habitat. Were there questions regarding what that means? Because if the commission allows it, I do have the answers to those questions.
I don't think that we had questions about what those things
Like,
mean.
is that, because I joined a little late, my Wi-Fi was a little choppy. Is that, was there like, there's like, I thought I heard like uncertainty around what that was defined as.
No, I think we're clear on what that is defined as. I think that the question was that the Attorney Marcus was stating that there wasn't sufficient evidence presented in the report to justify those comments.
Okay, sorry, that's my misunderstanding. My first question that I have regards to what was removed from the river in terms of rocks. What size were the rocks that were removed? Like what size were they? Were they silts? Were they medium gravel? Were they coarse gravel? Was it boulders?
Boulders.
They were boulders. So I'm defining a boulder as something that's, 1,000 to about 4,000 millimeters. That's what I'm defining that as. So larger stones.
No, meters is not weight.
50 pounds.
50 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking very large. Okay, so we're talking. Okay. Now my question is, when those large stones were removed, did anybody notice any sort of alteration in current speed, so how fast the river was flowing, or in any sort of sediment disposition downstream. So was there any, sediments, that mass sediment moving downstream observable?
The applicant has said no. I'm not sure how clear you can see them because I don't think they're
No.
represented on the screen. And
No.
our intervener is requesting.
I think it's worth Mr. Sakamani continuing with his questions, and then
Gotcha.
we have a.
Okay, you want to just lay them all out?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Can you do that for us, Nick?
Yeah. So the second question was about the width of the river at the point of where the property, the development is taking place. So how wide already do we know?
20
Yeah.
20
How
feet.
wide? 20 feet? Okay. And
We're gonna
what-
do, okay.
okay, sorry, I joined a little bit late, so I'm just kind of getting a little bit more stuff that I may not have, that I may have. And my final question regarding it would be, in terms of the existing bank, is there a high percentage of riparian plant zone cover? So large, and when I mean heavy cover, I mean large trees, shrubs, woody shrubs.
Okay.
And I think that's it for me for right now. I'll probably have some more.
All right. Would the applicant like to respond?
Yes.
Oh.
Do you want to have the rest of the commissioners?
Oh, you want to get everybody?
Yes.
I apologize. Okay.
I think it's worth you just have everything hold on table.
Okay, fine. Do you mind holding your answers, Nick, until everyone can have a chance to throw their questions into the mix?
Sure.
Thank you. Nico?
Yeah, so that's that. Just wondering what the before and after, like what's the direct evidence that shows a cause and effect from or before and after of the intervener mentioning that the work has been that the work that Mr. Bjorken did on the west side of the river, on his side of the river, caused, he's asserting that it caused the erosion to happen on the opposite side. I hear that being asserted and told to us, and I would like proof of that being the case.
That's a question.
I haven't seen that proof yet. Nobody's presented an engineer to us to talk about volume and how that changing the volume of a water course, or removing or adding or removing material in the form of boulders we've heard mentioned, and where exactly those being placed, how that volume displaces water or creates more space for water. I can work it out myself, but nobody's really told us these are the volume measurements here, and by taking certain things out in this place, this change occurs, and this change, maybe we can infer, or to the best knowledge that we have, that it affected what effect that has on the properties involved. I'd also like to note that there are, so I've asked for this in writing, to have an engineer in the room to discuss this, whether we provide it or the applicant provides it. I want a third party one. I want to make sure that it gets done, that this gets analyzed correctly. So I fully expect that to be in the room. They should be here now. I don't know why they're not, but I guess we're in our hearing. That for some reason my request is that they're not here. I don't have comments from Richie. I want him in the room now.
Understood.
I've asked for this in writing.
Understood.
So we did a site walk. We walked around with Mr. Bjorken. We've seen what's going on. What materials, like you had asked Dave, I wanted to make sure for after this meeting or next, what materials have you used on the site, in or out of the water to build the walls? Did you buy any materials in, mortars, anything like that? Is it just rock? Where did the rock come from? Is it rock from on-site? Is it rock from off-site? I want to know the exact, basically like places in the river that if you did take rocks out, where those rocks went on-site. I'd like you to mark it on a map for us and drawings so that we can see exactly what's going on the computer screen. Not necessarily, I don't care if it's on the computer screen, but some people might. I want to see where the structures are on all these maps with X's and O's. I think I can tell what's what, but nothing's really marked as far as the structure goes. It would just help us to kind of see. I think we really need some. I'm not going to go out and call for like a site plan because I'm not trying to put people necessarily like out for financial burdens, but any sort of to scale drawings and or site plans, which is what these people do, engineers and the like. So yeah, materials, methods, any machines or not. I think it's been answered. I know some things because of the questions that I want to make sure that are made public. And to note also that there are in fact retaining walls on the Blanchette side of the river as well. They're hiding a little bit under grass. Look at the site map. And there's old walls there that are holding that property up in the floodway. And they're taking care of, they're managing the stream flow on that side. And it appears that the Mr. Dorkin is trying to do something similar on his side of the river. And that's it. We've been through this. What do we need? We need to know if he has any specific rights, like I mentioned, having a structure in this floodway. I mean, it's obviously a terrible idea. It would not be, it should not be permitted today. I suspect that it was built, before all these things. It's literally in the river.
Way before any.
Right. So what does that mean now? What is he allowed to do anything different or not? No, if not, what building methods are recommended in floodways to make sure that the water flows and that the flood storage capacity of the regulatory floodway is not diminished or altered irretrievably. So like I said, it's probably a question for the building department.
Now, your floodplain manager is the building department.
Yeah, so I want to know what they recommend. I want to know what they recommend.
Right.
Building
For
and floodways to make sure that the water continues to flow how it's supposed to go.
Right.
Recommended building practices. We heard him talking about that the water travels around the house to the west and it goes around that structure when it floods there.
Right.
Is there a better, what needs to be done there to protect this house? Or do we just let the house get washed away? Should it be demolished and removed? These are like big questions for the site.
Right. But again,
Avoid all that in the future.
the concerns about the floodway and the flood zone and the placement of structures, those are not part of your purview. Okay, that's why you
Well, it's
have.
all within the 100-foot regulated upland review area.
Right, so that's why, this is why it's a matter of how the application is framed as far as what the regulated activities are with respect to the on-site wetland and water course, okay?
So we won't have to solve the whole building code issues.
No. When the time comes, should that time come, the applicant will have to submit a zoning application for activities within the floodway. They will have to substantiate per the zoning regulations why the activities that are proposed do not compromise the property's ability to receive or dispense floodwaters. they may have to go to a higher degree than what they've presented thus far to substantiate that. But that is not part of what your review is. Your review is all about the wetlands.
So can we see some before and after pictures, if you guys can produce them, of the site? I don't know how far back we have to go, like the work that Ms. Bjorken did, to see how things have moved. And also still, again, how do we know that that caused the erosion?
Well, that's for the applicant to prove or to demonstrate what effects has the activity had on what the conditions are. That they have to substantiate that.
Because rivers move naturally. They do this. There's a reason why on this map. There's, there's wiggle room here. This is the possible place that the river can go.
Right.
And it moves naturally
I
throughout that area.
I think the comment that you're speaking to is, and I don't want to speak for you, but if you were looking for how to phrase that, it would be, yes, a water course as as time progresses, its banks will meander.
This is its natural area of deviation. And this happens throughout the whole watershed. And these are the places that the river can be.
Well, let's.
It can be. It wants to be. It'll try. It's going to move.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let's have the experts speak to how the water course would behave. Assuming none of the work that Mr. Bjorken had taken place.
Well, I've studied this as well.
And then.
So a flood within the floodplain, the river wants to move, and it can move, but depending on the type and size of the storm event, it'll move within this floodplain.
Right. So that's.
Okay, hold on. I know. We're gonna pull it off.
So,
Sorry, Mr. McManus.
So
Nico, let's keep it
the
here.
distinction that you need to make is what effect, if any, has the work that Mr. Bjorken has undertaken had on the water course's ability to change its course of flow, for lack of better words. I'm not that expert, so I don't know what that word is, but I know what I'm trying to express, and that.
Okay, so let's
right.
hear about
And that's if that is information that you want, that you feel is necessary for rendering your decision, you have every right to request that. So, but make sure it's known, so that way you have it.
Are you saying, how has the work that has already been done or the work that is proposed impacting the natural flow of the river? Is that what you are saying?
Yeah, or is it just natural stream and it's the excess flooding patterns that we experienced last year and the last couple of years, that was huge storm event that.
Understood, but I think the
Flood
question,
cover.
not to make it broader than it needs to be, is because we're focused on the application for the work that they're proposing, which includes work that was done, is how has this work impacted the natural flow of the river? Or how will this work impact the natural flow of the river?
Yeah, or did it
I understand
did it
that.
have any impact at all?
Right, so how
Because
has
these were
it,
huge
if it
storms
has,
that we saw.
how has it, if it's, yes?
If yes,
Okay.
as it.
Has it had any impact, and if so?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I know, I hear you, I want to
good
get
if
all the way
anybody
back
else
around
wants
and
to
then I'll
chime
bring
in.
in
Go ahead.
more.
I'm good if anybody else wants to chime
Yep,
in.
absolutely. Carrie.
Well, when your property started flooding more than it flooded before the boulders were taken out, did it happen right after?
We're just gonna make a list of questions and they're gonna answer them all, so if we can make that in the form of something.
Okay.
Down to address.
So, yeah, kind of. I would like to know when the boulders were taken out,
Mhm.
and was there a cease and desist when that was happening? And my other question is, the materials that were brought in, where did they come from? I think we should test those materials to make sure that it's not something that is bad for the watershed.
So we would like an accounting of what the
Absolutely.
materials that went in were.
And that's really the only two questions I have, is like, what impact? Because obviously if the river doesn't flow the way it did before, and something was changed, then I want to know what was changed, how was it, and how does it impact it now? Because
I think it's the
basic-
same question
yeah,
that Nico was.
yes,
putting on the
and I
table.
mean, I live downstream from this river too. And, yes, it floods when there's a big heavy rain. And I'd like to know what was done to divert it.
How are the banks along the how are the banks along the sides of the river where you live?
Hold on a second, let's not bring that in. I know, I gotcha. All right, so how has the work done changed?
Yes. course of the
Understood.
river, Yep.
I have a few, but I'm gonna go last. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, thank you. So this would be another question for the experts there because lime kiln is near and dear to my heart because I've studied it extensively already. So I have a pretty good inclination of the ecology there, both from an animal and plant perspective. But if it's possible to get a biodiversity index report, I don't know if that's possible, specifically a Shannon diversity index, which just measures species richness versus evenness. I think that'd be really helpful. Basically, that would just give us an inclination of what animals and what plants are there. And if there's any endangered species on premises that are using this watershed downstream or upstream, it does matter. It is important. I think those two pieces of information would greatly help. So I would ask for a biodiversity index analysis.
I'm going to a quick response to those.
Yep.
Would you
No,
mind?
all of them or just that one?
No, just that one.
Yeah.
Specific, because it's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
See how hard it is?
Yeah. I know, I'm sorry. Nick, I would ask that you look through my staff report. I know you don't have it in front of you, at least. I haven't shared it before this evening. One of my comments speaks to whether or not the commission would like a functions and values assessment. Okay, and there's a format that follows for whether or not a specific resource has a function present and how valuable it is. The second thing is you should have the applicant confirm whether or not the study site is within a natural diversity database area, and whether or not there are any protected species that the DEEP recognizes that would warrant a further study or comment from that.
Okay, yeah, I was just throwing that out there as something that I personally would if it was possible. Again, I don't have the staff report right in front of me, so just throwing it out there if possible. So
Thanks, Nick. Okay, can I throw in a few? And I would also like to make a suggestion that after we finish compiling this list of things that we don't actually rebut them tonight, but we close the conversation and move on to other things and then revisit this and open it at our next meeting, as it is getting on to 9:15 and we have other items on the agenda tonight.
Sure.
How does that feel to the commission? It's good to me. Does that feel okay to you, Nico?
I'm not confident that questions get answered when they get pushed off personally. I've never seen it happen.
It's been happening for 2.5
So-
years.
I've never
So-
seen it happen.
So why
Honestly,
don't
I've been attending all
you,
these meetings, and people who
before
don't
the-
answer the questions regularly, that's just not get answered.
before the public hearing gets continued, why don't you make sure the applicant understands what questions that you have for them
Yeah,
and what,
I tried to make a list here.
On the record,
I
it's
assume-
on the video,
Right.
and the questions.
It is. All right, so you would not be in favor of that. You would be in favor of that. Nick, did you want to weigh in on continuing this conversation?
I'd like some of the questions to be answered before we continue, if it's possible.
Can you clarify what some means? Because so far I have a list here
Like,
of.
I'd like to have questions answered.
You would like to stay for 20 questions to be answered and rebutted?
Yes.
Tonight? Tonight or the next,
See it, if
before the
it's-
close
if you've got
down?
it, if you've got it.
We'll
then
answer
that's fine.
some we can't. So
Yeah.
the ones that need it to be researched.
All right, noted.
Some we can't.
I think we call that to a vote, I think, do we not?
no, I,
Oh, that's a,
Press on, Madam Chair, press on.
The evening's young.
right.
not for some of us.
Right. I think for what the applicant can respond to offhand, you should give them the opportunity to do so. But they should also be given the opportunity to prepare whatever they may need, you know, outside of this evening to come back with a more thorough. So let's see what they have
All right.
to respond to tonight, and we'll take it from there.
All right, so my questions that I would want answered include, Mr. Marcus mentioned that there was some initial work done when Mr. Bjorken acquired the property. So I'd like to know when he acquired the property and what work was done at that point in time. It was noted that he brought in materials from Newtown. I would like to know what those materials are and what the origin of those materials was, and if there is any ability to measure how much material was deposited within the water course or within the regulated review area. I think this one, I don't know if we have clearly delineated this or not, but the proposal is to stabilize, it sounds like 67 feet of riverbank, and as yet, I don't have any clarification as to what that entails beyond just depositing more materials, and I would like much greater clarification on what that looks like, how it is to be stabilized, the structural integrity of it, how that's to be evaluated. Much greater detail on that. I would like to have a survey. I would like to have a functions and values. And I don't think that a diversity database index is a bad idea at all. That's part of the functions and values, yeah?
No, that's separate. The diversity database is an area that DEP has mapped for where environmentally sensitive or protected species may be present. Okay. Whether or not those species happen to exist in an area because it has that function, it can happen, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going. Okay. So they're not dependent on each other.
Okay.
It's
When you say survey, do you mean a site plan that shows the work?
There is a survey in the file.
Okay.
Take a look at it.
Okay.
What's a survey?
The
Is a survey a
what,
site
the
plan? What's a
A2?
survey?
Survey?
It's a.
Yes, from 1971.
It's all
It said it was
property
too
lines?
old and it needed to
Shows
be,
the buildings
updated. It was last section of
And
comments.
it's
That's a
one of your
base
questions.
survey.
So there's a,
That's not
from
a site plan
1970
of
something, is that
contours.
accurate?
No, there are no elevations.
So there is a survey that was that was added to the record because there was a record memo from the clerk, from the records.
I recall this from the
Right,
initial.
okay.
Yeah.
So as far as understanding the area and the configuration of the property, you could surmise that from that survey.
You can see it on the sidewalk.
Right. As to whether or not all of the pins that relate to that survey were visible, I'm not a surveyor, so I'm not going to try to say what those were. I mean, some of the stakes that were visible were pointed out to you.
He doesn't know where they are. He's out there with a tape measure today. Measuring. We need an actual surveyor.
But if you're looking for something that compares the area of work with respect to where the property lines are and where regulated wetlands areas are, if you feel that you don't have enough information to show you
I'm
how
not
those things
confident
all
that what was
relate.
submitted from 50 years ago is what we should be relying on at this point in time.
Okay, so I would express that to the applicant that you may want something.
I have expressed that to the applicant.
We'll go with what we submitted. We're not doing a new survey.
Okay,
So, do you want us to try to answer some of these questions real quickly? Because some of them we can't.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna start on the screen. Size of the boulders, we said that they were 50-pound boulders, more or less. Is that
That
a fair
that
number?
came out of the.
Out of the street, yeah. The question was erosion downstream. I'm not exactly sure what that question was. Have we observed the erosion downstream? Yes, and Mr. Kellogg actually testified to it. That's his property. There's erosion of the bank downstream. It was there. It was there when the property was acquired, it's there today, but, I don't know what else there. You look at the width of the river in front of the 70 feet or so that we're working in is approximately 20 feet wide. And, the riparian cover on the bank, did you tell us what the riparian cover is?
Within the reach, it's little to no understory other than herbaceous bed. It's mainly trees. It's a tree canopy, as you saw from the sidewalk.
On the portion
On-
that you did.
Right.
My,
Correct, yeah. On
my
the
section,
You're
incomplete,
67
right.
feet.
my section of study area, it's mainly a wooded community.
To your questions, history, before and after, we'll try to put together some pictures that show that. I'm not gonna try to explain. The cause of the erosion on the opposite bank.
Well, the erosion has always been there. It's
Yeah.
always been there.
So I'll answer the question. It's the water.
It's the water. I mean, it's always been there. Unfortunately, this brook has issues in Newtown as well. This is a troublesome brook.
They changed the name of it.
They did.
It wasn't Limekiln Brook. To protect the innocent, had a different.
Did it really?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline.
Can I just,
Look at the old maps. It's Jacqueline. Brook.
I just want to say something for the record, just so we can understand. It's regarding the
Yeah.
flood
please.
maps.
Yeah.
Flood maps are engineering maps. Floodplains, as a soil scientist, as we delineate floodplains due to morphology of the soil. Soils have certain morphologies that develop in floodplains. This is based on elevations and other things that engineers put together, and they come up with a flood zone. These
FEMA
maps-
map.
FEMA map. Flood Emergency Management Association.
Federal Emergency
Federal
Management.
Management Association. Typically, these lines, we will not be, we can be, but typically, especially with broad floodplain, we will not be coinciding with these lines. Because the morphology disappears. They're doing a different activity.
But you understood the point.
I understand, but when you talk floodway and floodplain, when you talk floodplain to me, it's a morphology. This is not.
Yeah.
That's all.
So,
Floodplain now, so
so you, I don't know if you helped correct what I was trying to say, which is not, you don't have to if you don't want to. But what I was trying to say was that rivers have a tendency to meander within what?
Well, that's
What do
that's
you
what
want to call
In the
it?
flood way.
meanders in the
A
floodway.
floodway?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what
thank you.
we calculated what this river can do. And they update these maps, but a floodplain has to do with soil morphology.
So, but a river tends to meander within a floodway.
Yeah.
correct?
Unless it's man
Unless it's
enhanced
man,
or manipulated,
right.
which is like
And just as an example,
can I do that to my
It's an
side
aside.
and just make it the same?
I was standing on the banks of the Mississippi River when we were in Mississippi, and it was a large plantation. And the owner said, before the storm, this was 4 miles in that direction. The Mississippi actually moved 4 miles.
And that's one storm event?
That was one storm, one flood. When they talk about Mississippi flooding, it floods.
Yeah.
So it's
So,
amazing. But you're absolutely correct.
so people have a lot of work to do, managing that in an urban and suburban setting.
that's why they update the map. So
That's why we have engineers.
So
doing it.
one of your questions was,
That's why the house is a good deal, because it's in a flood zone.
Let's try and keep it on track because some of
Okay.
us are.
yep, tired. Removing material from the water course, your question, where was it placed? It was placed, now, there were 2 types of materials. The rock was placed up on the bank, and the debris, the wood, that was just dead wood in the water, was carted away. I mean, basically, that's what you took out. We took wood that had just fallen.
These are
fallen
wads
off, yeah.
that get into the river and
But that stuff was taken, garbage.
Basically, I want to see like before and after,
Yeah, we'll
like
get to it.
drawings and pictures of like what was moved where exactly, so that we can see where it started before the Orkins work started happening, where it's at now.
Your next question was, how does it displace water to remove boulders? And you wanted in volume measurements. That's something that I'm not sure how we're going to answer.
The reach is too short.
Length, height, width.
The reach is too short though.
It's a very small section.
It's a very small section. You're
70
talking about
70 feet.
very heavy dynamic river. We're talking about 7 feet.
We'll ask. I don't have the answer.
I mean,
but,
it's a question of volume, right? When we're talking about displacement, we're talking
Yeah.
about if he's
Yes, we're talking about volume
Where's that
of
water
water
going?
that comes into this zone, which is 70 feet long. Is that gonna have an impact?
We'll
That's
ask.
the
it's
question.
his work.
One of the questions that would relate to that is we still don't have an accounting of how much material was removed from the river.
It's really about the volume of water that comes into the system.
Yeah.
And whether it's gonna impact the system itself to 70 feet, and particularly this gentleman's property here. That's it.
That's going to be a tough question to answer.
It's
I'm
gonna
not
be
sure.
very tough question to answer
We'll
because of
see.
the reach of the river. We only have 70 feet of it.
Materials brought in, where were they placed? Nothing was put into the water course. Anything was,
Built the bank higher.
Yeah. the bank itself is where the materials have been placed. And again, we should go back and do it on the sidewalk, because the best way of knowing it is look at it. It's all there. It's all there. Has it had any impact on the flow of the water in the river? Again, we'll try to get you the answer on that. I'm not sure we can. We'll try. But you asked who asked the question? You asked the question earlier. You want to know the age of the structures.
That was the original thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did ask.
Okay, so here's what I can
Just
tell you.
wondering if there was some legal, like, if you had like.
The original house was probably built around 1900, because that's when the house across the stream was built as well. That seems to be the period. That's according to the tax assessor. It's not accurate. They placed 1900 on the intervener's house in the original section. There's a second section of the house that has a basement dug, and that's 1962. It appears to have been an addition, and that seems to have some record. The garage on the property, according to the tax assessor, was 1940. So these are all older buildings, and some of them are really old. Somebody, where boulders were taken out, was there a cease and desist? Your question, I think.
Yeah.
David, was there a cease and desist?
There was an enforcement letter issued. Oh, jeez.
Figured you could pull it up easier than I could. And then, while he's doing that, your question, this was asked on an earlier application. Where did the materials that have been used on the banks and stone walls, where do they come up from? And what are they? It's rock. It is rock that was from Newtown, Connecticut.
Yeah, stone on my property in Sandy Hook.
Sandy Hook. And again, if you want to see it from its source, we can arrange that for you. I mean, it's basically, it was quarried rock at some point. It's not
What's the
hazardous
origin?
material.
This was my question. What was the origin of that material?
Quarried.
From where?
No, it's glacier. It comes from New Brunswick. It came down, and my property is filled with glacial,
From Sandy Hook.
size of
It's-
trucks.
It's native to the area. It's not
It's
Bethel.
clean native stone. It's
Yeah,
not
it-
processed,
yeah.
and it's not, it doesn't
Feels
have any
sense.
chemicals in it. That's what we need to know. Correct.
Not Sandy Hook.
It's clean stone.
Yeah.
Clean glacial stone.
Clean glacier. That's what we've used. Biodiversity report, again, it's too small an area to talk about the biodiversity of this little piece.
Don't tell that to my colleague on the screen.
Nick.
Don't say that.
It's a pretty small area. We'll
Tell him
ask
what he
around
wants.
for that to see if that makes any
Shut up.
sense. I
Just
don't,
kidding.
It
I'm
was
not
more,
sure.
yeah, it's more for a general outside of your zone as well, because it has potential impact downstream and upstream. So it would need to be a complete report.
Yeah, but you realize that this commission doesn't protect that, we don't protect that. We protect the species that impact the wetlands. So what you're really looking for is what is likely to be on this property that we could harm, that would end up with a degradation of the wetlands or the watercourse.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's a pretty small, I'll see if I can find out. expect we'll find one.
Thank
you. And
Well, you probably know more. Why don't you present what you've studied?
I don't know, can we?
if you don't,
Yeah,
If you-
at this
yeah,
point,
not
the
trying.
commission really should just be in a position to ask questions.
yes. When did you acquire the property? What year?
Had it for, um, 10 years.
10 years, okay. That was a question.
10 or
from the
15.
chair.
2006.
I think it's more.
2015. Yeah, but every 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2015, 10 years.
Approximately, okay. Question from the chair, the amount of material deposited into the water course, that's easy. 0.
And the amount of materials removed from the water course.
That's gonna be harder. We'll try to get you that estimate.
Well, this is what keeps the valley of the water course.
We'll try to
I'm
get
not
you
asking about
that.
the function of it, I'm
Yeah,
asking about the
We'll try to get
quantity
you an
of it.
answer on that. And then here's an interesting question. It's your question. Clarify what is to be stabilized. Well, at this point,
No,
any-
clarify how you plan to
it's
stabilize
done.
it.
You can go look at it. It's done.
I've been out to
Yeah,
look at
that's
it. We
it.
would like an accounting of the
You
work
want-
that was done in greater detail than what we have.
Okay. That
And
I
it's
can
my
do.
understanding that you have work that you wish to continue
It's-
doing, and
it's
we would like
basically-
an accounting of how you plan to do
It's
that.
basically masonry work. This is a mason. And that's
Understood?
the place stone. But we'll do that. We'll try to describe what the work that you did. It's a damn good mason. You can believe that side.
I know this isn't, of course, but I'm interested in making raised beds in front of the lower house. And then I have granite blocks and I'm gonna put boards there so to keep the water to keep it away from entering the house.
So we would love to have some sort of a
Picture.
plan.
Yeah,
A picture of
that's what I'd be,
a picture.
that's what my
Uh,
thing to do is.
function and values study.
We could, again, the 70-foot reach, I'm gonna kind of stay within my study area, but
Is there a reason? I don't understand why we are,
because
working.
we
just
haven't done any work outside of that resource. So why am I commenting on something we didn't?
Well, no,
I'm
but
just
the
asking for
point-
clarification.
Yeah.
So there's the
Yeah, we're
reason
trying-
that you are staying
Yeah,
within the
but we
67
can
feet is.
make assessments. I'm saying that our assessment is short-lived. It's very short. It's hard to come up with a value. It's too small for the highway methodology work. But we could come up with some assessments on what was done, what's happening upstream and downstream. And we'll come up with some assessments. SLR, I'm assuming is gonna be engineering. Is that their role here?
So they're providing a review from an engineering perspective as to whether or not it would be able to address all the comments that have been raised by Mr. Jordan and the other commissioners.
Is that all you have the communication with them with, is engineering with Mr. Ritchie?
That's correct.
So then you're back to the diversity database, which again, we'll look at.
Look at, it's all, I'm looking up. I think I looked it up before, but it was a couple years ago and I can't remember.
Thank you. So thank you for your answers to the questions. Mr. Blanchett, I know that you had a lot of thoughts going on while that was occurring, so I'd like to can we give him the opportunity? Yes, we should, right? I have to give him the opportunity to rebut some of that.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
I really don't want to invite.
We could defer to the next meeting. We're all going to be back.
But how about the scope of the whole thing? That was supposed to be brought in, like, right off the bat, like, when they came back here. Right, we're reverting to the 50-foot section that's past the part that we're initially talking about.
So
It's getting like segregated again.
Okay.
Into,
So it's worth the commission.
Why is that happening?
hold on.
Hang on. It's worth the commission and the applicant having a mutual understanding of where the scope of study is taking place and the extent that it's taking place and where within that extent is taking place. Right now, we're just talking about one bank of the water course, right?
Correct.
Do you want it to be both? Are you looking for the entire length of the water course along Mr. Bilkins' property, just the area where
One of
you
the things
were?
that I'm struggling with is that in the course of the applicant making statements,
Mhm.
I'm hearing that Mr. Blanchett has a difference of opinion on many of these things. So if it is appropriate, I would like to encourage Mr. Blanchett to review the tape from the meeting tonight. Sit down and take some notes for the thoughts that were coming to your head, because they're not getting included in the record, and I'm trying to invite you to do so that that can be a part of what's being discussed. That's really what I'm getting at there.
Yeah.
And so,
And if he wants to have an opportunity to have his expert present information, and you feel that that's of value to your to your review, then you should have.
I would like
should have an opportunity.
all of the experts.
Yes, and I was gonna say, and the same goes for Mr. McManus. I'm
Yes,
sure as part of their
absolutely.
response comments, they'll have some follow-up to what they've asked. So, but at this point, since you don't have that, we're
Yes.
just beating this.
I agree. I'm just, I understand. I gotta get up a little early. So I get it. I'm trying to keep this
Can you define
balanced.
real early?
What'd you say?
Can you define real early?
I can.
4:30 here.
I can.
4:30.
I can.
They get up at 2 every
Motion to
morning.
adjourn.
Nico?
Just that we reviewed an application for a project not dissimilar to this. It was a river water course
Yes.
alteration, repair job to a retaining wall to
Yes.
a water course in Bethel. So we've seen this before. I just wanted to remind the commission, and the only thing really different here is that there's an intervener involved from across the river, I think. And I don't know exactly how much that complicates things or not. But we've seen this and we've made a decision that it's.
Yes. Okay. So I am looking to try and put a close on this for tonight for myself, selfishly, as well as for everyone else in the room, and we do have more business to attend to. So, Nick, are you satisfied with the conversation for tonight? Can we put a pin in this and have a continuation? Are you comfortable with that?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Nico, are you satisfied and comfortable with that?
Yes, and I really appreciate everybody in the room, the conversation we've had. Thank you all very much for being here.
Terry, are you comfortable with that? Absolutely. Wonderful. Do I need a motion to continue this conversation into our next meeting? I would entertain a motion
I'll make a motion.
to continue the conversation on the review of 7 Rockwell Road to our next regular meeting, which is scheduled at some point that I do not have in front of me, but Amanda knows December 8th to the December 8th meeting.
So moved. Motion made by Terry.
Terry's making the motion?
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for attending.
All right.
Good right now.
Moving it along. I'd like to move us to business items. We have, yes.
Do you want to get back to the site
Oh,
plan
yes,
review
thank
first,
you,
or do you
Amanda.
want to
You're
go
always
to the?
keeping me on. Nope, let's do the site plan
Let's
review.
go, Sean.
We're going to return to our site plan review of 13 Pleasant Street. I would love to ask if the public would mind taking the conversations outside so we can continue. Gentlemen, if we could take the conversation in the hallway, I would be very, very grateful for that, so we could continue our meeting tonight.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Think
you.
about it, Jen.
I have
Thank you.
Would help. Take care. Wake up.
Okay, so returning to 13 Pleasant Street, we have a draft resolution of approval to review. Yes, sir?
Would you like me to present that?
I would so like you to present that.
Thank you, Amanda. And I will put it up on the screen for you, Mr. Sacramone. Just bear
I
with me.
appreciate that. Thank you, Dave.
No sweat.
No, I'm just- I don't know how you're still thinking. Yeah.
Coach cheerleading. Varsity.
Yeah.
How we doing?
Great.
Yeah, it's great.
Have you done that?
First month for last year.
And did you cheer?
No, yeah, I cheered my whole life.
Hey, there we go.
That would be a huge.
There. All right. Everybody see this?
I can see it.
Okay. I'm gonna let this scroll. Is this a good speed? I think that's a yes. While you guys read, I'll be right back.
Give you a double espresso? Oh,
Thank you very much. We'll be interested. Thank you.
Okay. Well, you know what I mean? Yeah. On my, at Gordy Road. Yeah. Goes to that. The swale there, yeah, when you get tired, it goes where all the wood is. That's what I want to talk about.
Can I close this door for you?
No, it has to stay open.
Oh, it's not, yeah.
No, we have to leave it open.
Conversations.
What if you put rocks on your side? Oh, I mean, just to keep it from the road. Keep it in the road.
Nick, are you done reading?
Yep,
Fabulous.
just finished reading. Thank you very much.
Sure. I note for everyone's awareness that we do not have medallions included here. Did we want them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's there. I think it's important.
We need to define the scope of that, how many, where. Anyone have any thoughts? Do we all remember this property?
Yeah.
Can you just repeat that one more time, Danielle? I'm having a tough time hearing.
I apologize. So I'm not sure if this is something that you've been a part of or not, but sometimes we have, there was a discussion before you joined the meeting tonight. Sometimes we have, applicants put medallions demarcating that there's a wetland or water course or sensitive area on the other side. We own them already. We distribute them free of charge, and we ask applicants to put them up just as a visual reminder that this is a sensitive area that people shouldn't be mucking around in.
Got it.
And that's not, then, and that's something that we sometimes ask as one of the things that we put in here, and it was part of the discussion we had earlier, but it is not included here, so I was reading the room to see if that was something we wanted to add into this, as well as any other conditions that we wanted to add, but that was what I was starting off the conversation with. So Terry said yes, Nico said yes. Do you have thoughts on that?
Yes.
Or can you-
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree with both Terry and Nico. Yes.
Okay, so if we want to include that, if everyone is in agreement, then we need to give them some parameters for that.
Just please.
And that, we often, I don't remember.
One environmentally sensitive area medallion on the tree or the
Existing
fence
tree.
at the, or is the fence coming out?
No, I believe the intent is for the fence to stay.
Just one that's near where that water course comes in, you know, the scour area.
Well, that's not a water course. That's a drainage, the storm drainage. That's not a water course.
It's down in the middle. Okay, so it comes in there. Just that's at the bottom of the hill from the property and on the property line to the other property. So where where they're, I think it makes sense to put one there where the two properties, like there's the uphill property that's the one being developed, 13 Pleasant Street, and there's the downhill property.
Can I make a suggestion to help with this?
would you mind bringing up the map
Oh, yeah.
of the property?
Sure.
Yes, I did want to interrupt Nico, but that would be.
Before we do that here, I'm just gonna put this in.
Thanks, Dave.
Before we do that, in case we want it. Okay. Let's go to this here. Files. Revised. Oh, this is drainage. It's me. That's better. Air shade. Yep. Oh, geez. There you go. Share. Everybody see my screen?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Dave.
Okay.
Can you please just cursor the wetlands for us?
Your wetlands are this giant pond that's off property, way over here.
All right, so with that in mind,
And the property line is here.
So it should be put kind of along the property line.
okay, hold on, yep.
Yep, because
I just want to clarify some stuff and yep,
We've got two different people pointing at two different screens.
all of this is out, so this is the limit of disturbance, is that right?
So your limit of disturbance, the applicant is showing that as the placement of the silt fence.
Okay, and so all of this is to remain undeveloped, yes?
That's to our understanding, yes.
Okay, so just keep that in mind when we're thinking about where we're gonna put the things, is that they're not planning on doing anything with any of this. The pond is over there. Now I will sit down and be quiet and you guys can figure out what you want to do.
I was thinking somewhere right around where the bend in the fence was, look in the corner of the other property line. Or what I thought, I guess the property is going up there. But it makes sense to put it somewhere at the bottom of the construction, maybe around slash. There's a tree, there were trees around here, so you could find a tree there.
For the property line, between the silt fence and the property line, if there's
But
trees
where
there.
we've got all of
There's
this.
trees there along that wall, yes, because it's
Yeah.
the stone wall. This is stone wall, so they're probably gonna go right up to that, you know. So yeah, just like.
I don't think it's necessary on the top of the property. I think it's downward.
As we get closer to where the
Yeah.
pond
Because
is.
here's where the outlet is from the drainage. This is the drain from the road.
Right.
So then it turns into basically a scoured out intermittent water course. This is all scoured. This is an intermittent water course here.
It's also off the property.
Yeah, but that's the environmentally sensitive area. The sign should be somewhere around here because this is the critical point where if people are messing around. So
But if
anywhere
we're-
there around.
But this is all a different property. So we're talking about trying to keep
Yeah,
people on
this
this
property.
property from mucking around.
Yeah, so somewhere around here.
Hey, Dave, just a quick question for you. Sorry to interrupt the deliberations, guys. You guys are kind of cutting in and out because there's a lot of background noise. I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
what-
I got it.
I tried to
Stick a
ask them
medallion
to-
up on a tree.
I just can't really hear you guys all too well. Sorry.
But how do you say this? How do you describe exactly where?
What was the question?
On a tree at the bottom of their hill near where the intermittent water course is, where the drain comes in, and the stone walls.
Okay. Well, there's a chain link fence there because there's a wing wall in that area where the pipe outlets, right?
Yeah, just on the mature tree that's on, there's gonna be mature wall trees along this wall.
So maybe it's not a matter of picking one, it's saying you should have the medallion installed within X number of feet of where that outlet is. How about framing it that way? So that way you're not pinning it to a specific tree, you're pinning it to whichever one is best suited to have it.
Okay.
Within a certain area. How does that work?
Sure.
I just want to try to keep things.
Understood. I'm
moving
comfortable
for
with that
I
language.
am too.
Nick?
Yeah,
Were
I'm
you able to
comfortable.
hear me then? Okay.
Okay.
It had to do with about not choosing a specific tree, but the tree that is best suited to having the medallion. Is that am I understanding that correctly?
Yep, within an area which Dave could highlight on the cursor for you.
Yes. Yes, that sounds good. Let me just see where.
For whatever distance you want that medallion installed within it, if that's the area that you're concerned about, then if you want that to be where the medallion to be placed in, that you have to specify that.
Yeah.
So why don't I, oops, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just noticed there's that slight line there. That's a chain link fence. Okay. Sorry, I didn't see that before.
That's okay. So
I gotta look real close at this screen.
that's okay. So why don't we go to a condition that I just added to this draft, and I quote, prior to the issuance of a zoning compliance certificate, the applicant and or their project and contractor shall install one Town of Bethel environmentally sensitive medallion to be placed on a mature tree at least 6 inches in diameter at breast height. Within, how many feet do you guys want to say? 5, 10, 15, 20?
Let's give them 10. That's 20 feet, right? Any of the, because 10 within,
Well, it's not a radius, right? Because the applicant doesn't own,
right?
well,
But it's a linear, it's 10. Okay, finish the sentence.
okay. Within, well, yeah, okay.
15 feet.
It's a semicircle, yeah, within
Yes.
10 feet of, I think my geometry.
Yep.
Within 10 feet of the chain link fence section located on the subject property.
I'm comfortable with that.
And to,
If, doesn't the chain link fence go far, like far and wide on there? Doesn't it go? I think they're not gonna know what we're talking about.
The chain link fence section
Isn't that drain pipe there
closest
to the drain pipe.
to the,
within 10 feet of the drain? Isn't that drain pipe? Isn't that where that weird pipe that goes through
It's
there?
close, it's in the woods there.
it's, yeah, Nico is right though. My memory's foggy as to whether or not that chain link fence continues, and I wouldn't want there to be any interpretation of.
They might not know what we're talking
Right.
That's why I'm suggesting where that pipe is, because
Right.
that's a fixed point. So if we say within 10 feet of the pipe,
Of the
which is also near the chain link fence, does that feel okay?
drain pipe
Yeah.
out. How's that?
Well, do you want it to be different?
10 feet's not that far. But yeah, that's, I guess is that?
Let's put it in there
Yeah, sounds good.
so we can move on.
That's great.
Okay.
Nick, you comfortable with that?
Yeah, the only thing I'm toying with is within 10 feet or extend it to 15 feet.
Yeah, a little longer, because 10 feet's
Okay.
not that far.
15
I'm
is fine.
more comfortable with 15, just to give that
Great.
extra 5 feet.
Okay,
15 it is.
It's in the same area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't have any other, personally, any other conditions I wanted to add.
No, that was,
Nick?
I'm good. That just the medallions was it for me.
Did you guys look at the other conditions that I wrote? Any questions?
I do not
Okay.
have personally any other questions. So, yes, are we ready?
If you guys
Oh,
are
I'm supposed to try the,
Wait, just one last question. With miscellaneous number 6, the applicant shall limit the usage of any fertilization materials to be non-synthetic. I know we drafted this. I remember doing this, like we had a deliberation about it, but the only thing I am curious about is I know we said that at some point we wanted to maybe make it more specific. Did we want to talk about that or do we think that's specific enough? That's the only question I had.
I think for the intent of this application and what the regular activities are, I think this language is sufficient.
Okay. That was it.
I think it does have to be wordsmith, Nick, like for future reference. Oh, but you're not even gonna be on the commission.
I will not, unfortunately.
It's kind of stands out there like a sore thumb. It's not saying what it's supposed to say, and unless, yeah.
Unfortunately, at this time, I don't have like
The right
I wouldn't have the proper analysis to be able to give a like what I think. I was just asking if there was going.
So if this feels okay to everybody for this particular application, Nick and Nico, I would invite you to submit better language to Dave as a concerned resident of Bethel, Connecticut. I'm sure he would be happy to hear public input and bring that to the commission for discussion for us for future
absolutely.
applications. We will hear
Absolutely.
input.
Awesome.
Yeah?
We'll do.
Great. Okay. Any other questions on any of the other conditions?
No.
Okay, so I believe at this point, I am about to say that at this point in time, I would entertain a motion to accept the draft resolution of approval for as written with conditions. Oh, gosh.
1 to 11.
1 to 11 based on, why am I not able to, based on,
It's double-sided.
yep, I know, but I'm on page 3, based on reasons 1 and 2, for 13 Pleasant Street. Did I do that okay?
Sure.
You did great.
Fantastic. Who would like to make that
I'd like to
motion?
make that motion.
Perfect.
Who would like to second that motion?
I will second.
Okay.
There.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will call a vote on the screen.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Excellent.
Closing 13 Pleasant Street, moving on to business items. Dave.
Me?
Yeah, you.
No, regular meeting.
Oh, regular meeting minutes. Home now? Okay, moving on to business items. We have our regular meeting minutes from 10:27. I know that Nico had stated he was not able or recognized he was not able to be in attendance for that meeting. However, Nico, did you have a chance to review the recordings for and all of the materials from 10:27?
Yeah.
Great. Nick, I do not recall whether you were in attendance for that meeting, 10:27.
Well, I might be having a brain fart. It's finals.
Yes,
week.
you were there.
Okay, and Carrie was there as well. I
I
was
said,
there.
so
Yes.
technically, the three of you have a quorum.
Yeah, but we got, okay, but he can
Yes.
vote if he wants to. There's, okay.
That's-
So thank you very much. I would entertain a motion to approve the, regular meeting minutes from 10:27 as written.
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote.
Aye.
Abstaining.
No, you watched it.
Yeah.
What do you want? You can vote or not vote. It's your
Oh,
choice.
yeah, it's your choice.
Yeah, the minutes as written. Good. Correct.
Yes? Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to the special meeting minutes. That was our site walk from 11:13 of 7 Rockwell Road. So that would include, we do not have enough people.
I couldn't do that
So we need to,
Oh, yeah, because Nicholas military was.
Yeah,
there.
I was
we do not have enough people.
Okay,
to
so
vote
But if they
on.
watch the video.
We can, yeah, so we can postpone that one to the next meeting.
We still won't have enough people because the only people who are in attendance will not be at the next meeting.
You'll never have enough people to satisfy that,
Okay.
this meeting minutes referendum.
Did
Did you
Oh my
watch the
God.
Did
video?
the recording get watched?
No.
Okay, haven't we talked about watch recording?
Nick, did you watch the
Oh, God,
recording?
it's 20
No, I
minutes.
did not get a chance to.
Okay, what would you like to do? Neither commission member has reviewed the materials from that.
You didn't watch the site walk?
I have not. It's finals week here. I'm in full swing.
Let's not argue the point. Let's move on. We want to go home.
Dave's an
I-
excellent
I would say,
cinematographer.
Commissioners in the future can watch the video and they can vote on it.
Great, then we will table that item. Do I need a motion for that?
You should have.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to table the approval of the special meeting minutes from
I'll make the
11:13.
motion.
And do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. I call a vote. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Invoice for Hearst Media LLC, Danbury News Times, legal notices in the amount of $305.60. Do we need to review this or can I just put a motion on the table? I would entertain a motion to approve the invoice for Hearst Media Services in the amount of $305.60.
I'm so moved.
And do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving along, we have another invoice for Clear Land Use Commissioner Advanced Training for 11/15/25 in the amount of $55. Do I hear a motion to approve said invoice?
So moved.
Do I
Second.
hear a second?
Any discussion?
I did attend the meeting. Thank you.
Thank
It
you
was
very
good.
much.
Or the land use training. It was like a 6 or 8 hour thing on a Saturday. And didn't really learn anything we didn't already know. But
Thank you for attending.
they talked about, but for your bias, predisposition, and conflicts, they talked about running and making meetings. This was an advanced legal training for land use commissioners. Running and maintaining, running a meeting, making decision, and fair and affordable housing was discussed as well. All very interesting topics, and I did attend, and it was what it was.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Staff report.
My sincerest congratulations to the commissioners who were reelected and elected to serve. My commiserations to those who were not. You will be sorely missed. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your participation and your service and your
I
wealth of
like
knowledge.
keep coming to meetings, guys. Just,
You're welcome.
Okay.
What I will be joining as well with Nico in attendance. I will be right next to you.
don't say goodbye yet.
Okay.
See how it goes.
The next item on the agenda is public comments.
Oh, my.
Anybody on the screen that I do not see?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, then do not hear any public comments, commission comments, inland wetlands regulations review and discussion. Anything anyone would like to propose tonight?
No.
I'd like to propose we adjourn.
Yeah, we're very close. Okay, so hearing nothing on commission comments, I'm sorry, did that include you too, Nick? Are you comfortable moving on from commission comments to our
Yes.
final item on the agenda?
Yes.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn the the 11:24 meeting, regular meeting of the Inland Wetlands Commission at exactly 10 p.m.
Motion made.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote.
Aye.
Aye, and we are adjourned at 10 o'clock. Thank you all very, very much.